Welcome to the show. All things Bulldogs. Here we go, here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Blue and white pride. Bulldogs for life. Dogfather here. Gas by my side. To a show, all things Bulldogs. Here we go, here we go. Hey, here we go. Hey,
G'day, Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's the live review. Welcome to everyone who's tuned in already on Magic Round. We've got the Dragons and the Panthers playing at the moment. I actually don't know the score in that, but we'll get it up and have a look a little bit. Gas is heading home at the moment. So g'day to you, brother. How are you?
G'day, mate.
Sounding good?
Good, mate. G'day, everyone.
Big
Currently
weekend.
12-0 to the Panthers, mate, at half-time.
12-0?
12-0 at half-time, yes.
Right, perfect. So it seems that 5 games so far, teams have lost by 22 or more points since our game. So this will be potentially the 6th game. So, look, that's not giving our team an excuse for what happened in that first half, but a bit of context on the week. And yes, it's our 5th loss in a row. Sorry, guys, just sharing this to a couple of people that I forgot to share it to that asked me to share things to them, as well as people who don't ask me to share. So that'll be done in a second. So there you go. So how is everyone? Say hello on the chats. We're going to talk about the game. I was able to sit behind the goalposts, which is I love to do because I can see a lot of the stuff that I like to see when I go to live games and stuff. And the last couple of weeks has sort of been not in the best positions to see everything. So it was really good. Well, it wasn't that good because I got to see how brittle some of the decisions were in our defensive stuff. But we're going to talk about the probably 2 key areas that need to change, where we need to sort of have a bit more of a positive attitude, I think, as a team. I think that there's a little bit of we're getting punished on contested possessions in the air. That's one thing that I'm going to talk about. And the other one is obviously, getting that ruck speed going because it's, it was always going to, like the return of Max King was significant. He's going to be better for the run, especially after what what happened with their fourth or fifth try, which put us down 24-0. That was terrible. We'll look at some early predictions around the team. But this week we're going to do Origin as well during the week. And we're also going to look at, I always do an annual shopping list. So assess where we're at halfway through the season or getting to that point. Who's going to be off contract? Who do I think is going to make it from our juniors and that sort of thing? As well as addressing all your chats the best way we can. Raising money for autism, which we're doing a great job, over $1,050 so far, or very close to that amount. And we need your continued support. We're up to about $60 on the spin, $60 of contribution so far since we started that. People getting tickets into the draw for a Bulldogs jersey. And, lots happening. Always giving back, but we're also going to look at what I think needs to change as far as our lineup goes. Good to see. Let's say hello to everyone at the moment. G'day to you, Bulldog Mike. Hey, guys, I'm so depressed about our team. Look, we're all depressed, mate. It's just how we conduct ourselves. And I tell you, if you haven't seen Stephen Crichton's 150th video, go and watch that. That's brilliant from the Bulldogs. I've shared it around as well. And also Jack Underhill, finding out about the struggles he's had to go through, losing his mum at 7 years old, and just like the belief this kid's got and the way he went out there. Look, we've been talking about the desperation he showed as a player, especially defensively, and he looks like a Bulldog the way he plays. And a lot of people have wanted that moment, but I can guarantee you that it's been a long process of getting him ready for that debut. And again, the club has to be commended on where they're getting a lot of flack at the moment, but they're able to bring in a kid who's able to go out there and play pretty long minutes in the end and enjoy himself and inspire some of his teammates with his efforts. I think he ran 5 decoys in the first time. We pretty much got an attacking set nearly straight away when he went on there, and I think he ran 5 decoys. Like, he was running himself ragged, just running decoys. Like, it was very obvious what we saw, and he can hold his head high. And I was very proud that I got a photo with him and Lipboy on that signing night beforehand. G'day to you, Pro Tay. G'day to Timmy. Thank you, Timmy, for the update. Disallowed try to cook at half time. Welcome to you, Brian. Good to see you, mate. Look, I understand how the Bulldogs are a massive thing to all of us guys, and for some people it's literally their one highlight, and I get it. And when it's going the way it's going, it can be very, very detrimental to the way we are with our mental health and all that. So, look, that's why they call us All Things Positive, because we want to get you thinking about the bigger picture always. And I know some people are sick of thinking about the bigger picture. They just want to be able to watch us ascend and keep that happening till we get a premiership. But unfortunately, life isn't that easy. If it was, we'd all be doing a lot better than we are. But Timmy says defensive attitude and mindset needs to be better. Yeah, look, I just think it come down to a lot of moments. And I actually don't I know it doesn't, people don't like what the people say, Gas, that they don't like when Serrato comes out and says there was positive things in being 30-0 down. Like, he's not doing himself any favours. But in saying that, he is being honest that there's moments which are killing us, that the overall minutes that they're out there, they're actually doing a lot of things right. And that is true. It's on a knife's edge. It's not an excuse. It's not saying they're not accountable. It's not saying they should be better. But there was also that one little comment he made too, Gas, where he said, I could talk about fatigue. It'll probably be bullshit anyway. That should open up to you guys that these press conferences are just theatre at the end of the day. And they're not what's happening in the change room and all that sort of stuff. And I find they try to be as best they can. But yeah, look, it's a learning curve for everybody involved. I'm sure of it. G'day, Lucas. Good to see you, mate. What's happening here? I'm trying to click on Lucas and it's stuck on Timmy. Oh, there we go. Welcome to you, David. Great to see you again, my friend. And be looking forward to catching up with you at the Gold Coast game. Would love to see a lot of us get down there. If people in Queensland try and have a catch up beforehand on the Friday night, maybe. Yeah, James. Look, mate, there's a good comparison you can make with Barrett there. Look, Barrett was the greatest attacking coach at Penrith that they ever had. Our attack was horrible with him, you know, so it's got the difference between roles is pretty simple, but this team is nowhere near that because our reserve graders are there's a lot less fringe first graders in that development list. There's a lot of guys that they're developing for NRL in our reserve grade side and Jersey Flag side. So it's a massive different thing to having, 60 players running around that are all really pretty good in reserve grade, but collectively on a team. Look, we still had some good players back then, going back to 2020, 2021. Where are you now?
Yeah, just continue, mate. I'll be there in a second.
No worries, buddy. He's in the servo. He's like, give me some fuel. Yeah, look, we're not playing worse at all. We've had a bad run of games. It's 5 games that we've lost. We won the first 2. They were always going to be tough. We lost the next 2 where we had some moments, especially in the South. I thought the Newcastle game was one of the games I was scared of the most because of the way that we actually were outplayed in doing what we do. I've still found in most of the games we've played this, even in this losing run, we've had periods where we're doing a lot of things right, except for executing. But what's killing us? We're going to talk about what's killing us in a moment. That's what we're going to get to, and we're just punished for it every time. I know as a player from the top class level, I'd call him a player from the working class. He's put in so much effort. Not contentious at all. Timmy ripped off hard. G'day, Jacob. Good to see you, mate. Timmy, I read the match report from men's under 18 cities, O Country SA. It was great to see CJ in the match report. Yeah, well, I still haven't watched it yet, and I feel bad for that, but it's just been too much. Mental health struggling a little bit with like everyone with rugby league, where I don't even want to talk about it with some people. And I need to sort of collect my own thoughts so I'm not influenced as much. But yeah, I need to. I've done that. I'm going to tell you what the key areas that I think are costing us big time, and it's not summed up in just some simplified word like attitude or they've got a poor attitude or they're sad, they've lost the coach has lost the dressing room. All these cliches are so easy to say, and it's just constant attacking from people that should know better. But I understand it. They're all frustrated. We all are. Like, I get it. And, I just tend to focus on 3 or 4 or 5 different people among social media that say nothing when we win. And then they come out of the closet when things are going wrong and they think they've got all the answers and who the problem is. And, they only look at things, it's poor recruitment and retention when we're losing. And they mention 7 guys that we've let go of, but they don't mention the guys that have been recruited that they loved and were excited about only a few weeks ago. So it's it's just human nature, I guess. G'day,
I'll
Trent
just say
from
a couple of
Punchy.
things.
Good to see you, Trent. Been a while.
Mick, if you can hear me still, yeah?
I can hear you now. What do you got for me, brother?
Mate, just a couple of things. I was at the one of the sessions earlier last week to see the team train. And I will say that anybody who thinks that there's anything at the club is absolute garbage. The boys are firing on all cylinders at the training. There's no anything there to be spotted or seen. They're working as one. They're working to perfection. They're doing their drills, and even when something goes wrong, they stop it and they go, no, we want to get it right. Do it again. So there's just the search for excellence constantly from their side at the training. Everything they're doing, all the efforts they're doing. I mean, just the setup to get them ready before they started. There was about a dozen people on the field getting everything ready, and I'm talking measuring meticulously everything to be in position where they want it to be before these guys go out. So nothing that the team has done is any shortcuts or anything that is not happening on the training paddock. The attitude, the team camaraderie, the way that they come out, they come running out as a team. Everything they're doing is still 100% effort, togetherness, everything, and they're all as one. There's nothing. People are trying to say the coach is there. Everyone's there together. They're all in it. They're all trying their best to get the result. Now, like you said, there's a combination of many things, not just one word or one thing. Obviously, a lack of confidence at the moment, lack of belief in some areas, just that execution on some things, and as much as you want to say it, for me, a big lack of luck at the moment, not going our way as well, is not helping. The 50-50 bounce of the ball, all these little things going against us doesn't help, guys. It doesn't help. So it's not easy sometimes when things aren't going your way. Just like winning is contagious, so is losing, unfortunately. And I just feel like the guys need to get a win under their belt and get that team song belted out, get the confidence going, get the juices flowing. And, like Melbourne finally broke that 7-run and won their second game the other day. As badly as Parramatta played, they still got the job done. But sometimes you just need to get that little bit of a break and get the win and then start again. But I will say one thing for context, people, for context. Now, everyone's looking at the Bulldogs, and the biggest focus, I believe, at the moment is the Bulldogs, right? But let's look at one thing. The teams that were in the top 4 last year are currently sitting 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. The teams that were in the top 4 last year, including the Premiers, 11 to 14, the position. So it's not just a Bulldog problem. Yes, things aren't going our way, but it's happening to a few other teams as well. Things aren't as easy as it seems at the moment. So that's just for a bit of context, people. Take what you want from it, but I'm just looking at the big picture, and I just think I'm hoping that we can turn the season around and get a great back end to the season. But it's not from a lack of effort, people. What the team is still doing out there is still thinking as if they're a top 4 team and believing that they can get a result and win and do what they have to do. Is it showing on the field sometimes? No. But that's what you have to keep doing. You keep putting in the effort, and then things will turn around. And it happens to every athlete, every sport, across so many levels. You can call it the yips, you can call it whatever you like in any sport. This happens. So we're going through it at the moment, but tough times don't last. Tough people do. I got that quote from Michael Jordan once upon a time. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. And that's what we've got to keep believing,
He rang
guys.
you up and gave it to you, mate, when he was looking for inspiration.
When he wanted his new jersey number, I gave him 23. There you go.
I'm going to skip straight to James's thing. We're supposed to be in a premiership window this year or next. Now, guys, every team, and this is what they'll tell you, believes they're in a premiership window after every preseason. I can tell you now that has never been said in this place. I've said that the way that we're playing and competing with a few tweaks and with with that belief, and with some luck, if we get there, we've got the game to win teams. But if my honest opinion, if we play the top 8 teams over the last 3 years, 100 times with our best team and their best team, I believe we lose it more than we win it. That's just my thought. And the reason because of that is the players that we brought to it. You can't manufacture. It's really hard to manufacture cohesion. But our coach and Gus Gould and everyone involved and all the people that have got involved have been able to give our club that bounce it needed, right? That little spike that it needed to get things flowing again and to get belief happening again. And I know it's terrible when the ball comes back down and it, and it feels like it's gone lower than it was. I can guarantee you it hasn't. You can sit there and throw stats at me and all the stuff to validate your opinion as much as you want. But our club is in so much better position than it was, and that's because of the people that have put it all on the line to do it. Now, to sit there and say we're supposed to be in a premiership window, that's media speak. That's fan speak. Like putting all these changes that happened around Marnie, Galvin, Sexton, and everyone keeps going to it and wants to keep this. Everyone types the story out like it's the first time anyone's fucking heard it, right? And then everyone repeats it, and then they hear it again, and they feel validated. They repeat it again. It's just one after the other. And then it becomes all of a sudden that the people that made recruitment decisions that got us that bounce, it was all just an accident somehow. Players that people had no confidence in suddenly becoming reliable players for the team. But there are some players that are in really bad form. And unfortunately, when you have spine players that are they're so critical to your team. If your fullback's out of form, it can hurt in many ways. Just like if they're in form, they can do wonderful things for your side. But the people saying that Tracy is, there's people respectfully saying Tracy's out of form and it's costing us on some moments, for sure. There was himself, King, Thompson, let Puru score a try. I think Hayward was there as well, and Tracy sort of just fell off the end of it. He just assumed it was taken care of. And being the fullback, you can understand why, because he's going to drop off the front and get himself into position. And I think that's been one of our letdowns as well, is that there is a lot of people who are setting up for the next play too often rather than keeping in the moment on every play, right? Turning their back on the play, stuff like that. Not supporting the player that's made a half break and has got their arm free. Like there's been that sort of stuff. That can all be fixed though, guys. That's not that's people probably overthinking the situation too much, trying too hard. They're like, okay, this one's done, we go to the next, rather than living for the moment and investing that energy there and then seeing what happens next. It's like the setup. I think there needs to be and I'm sure there is. That's definitely been addressed. There's so many professional people that are involved in our club that have got eyes on what's happening out there, and they look as surprised as everyone else. Now, our fan base act like it's no surprise because they target the same individuals every week. And the problem is, if the replacements that I see people putting up, I know for a fact they're not right yet. They're not there yet. And when they are there and when they are right, they'll definitely be brought in to the side if the people in front of them aren't in the form they need to be. Jonathan Sewer's come in from Marcello Montoya essentially, and now Jono's had some good moments, but ever since he sort of held onto that ball and didn't pass it to Cherry, when the game was in the balance against the Cowboys, that would have put us in front. I've found that he's been lacking, and he's a guy with a bit of swagger, right, and a lot of self-belief. And the way he takes it into the contact, he goes in hard, guys, and he wants to run a second time. Like his efforts, there's nothing wrong with his efforts, but under confidence and stuff, there's doubt there and hesitation sometimes. And I'm seeing that in the contesting for the high ball. I'm seeing that with Tracy as well. The reason other teams have scored, I think, 11 tries from us in kicks in the last 5 weeks has been because, and this is one of the major things that is an issue for us, they are going into those contests expecting they're going to win the battle for the ball. They're going into those contests with aggression, with the right attitude, and without fear if they drop it. Whereas the Bulldogs, it's the opposite. I feel that the Dogs are thinking about the consequences of this contested possession if they don't get the ball, and that has to change. And it only changes when you get players, because you know what happens when, if Luke Patton dropped the footy every time he went to catch it, if he dropped it, I don't know, and it maybe once more per game in his career, the Dogs wouldn't have won a premiership. I'm telling you, they wouldn't have won a premiership and got close if it was just one more average per game drop. That's how much of a knife edge these things are. So when they go up for a ball and they're down 6-0 again off a kick, or if someone puts a chip in, we're not getting the bounce of the ball. That is true. We're not getting the bounce of the ball. So you can sit there and say, oh, it's a lot more than that. Well, you add all these little things up and they create a situation where you're down 36 at halftime and everybody losing their brains, including me. I was an absolute mess. I was so angry, right? But I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, the coach is fucking shit. If the coach gets sacked and we get a new coach, if one of the people who are constantly putting shit on Gus and Serrato want to apply for the job, and they get the job, I'll back them too. And I'll support them the same way because it's out of my control. And there's enough narratives out there. This is the other side of the story. This is why we're here. I can see the issues as clearly as anybody else when it comes to what's happening on the field. But there is plenty of moments where this team are showing aggression, are showing cohesion, aren't giving up. The constant, that's the thing. But we've got some hesitation on our edges. Look, someone said to me, I can't even remember who it was. Might have even been Harry. It's not Cherry's not to blame, but he loves Cherry. That's what I mean. When people love a person, they tend to stick up for them more. But I actually went and looked at it. I went, yeah, it's not just Cherry. That whole left edge wasn't the left edge during preseason. The left edge in preseason was Carraz, Critter, Burton, and Kickout. And they do swap around and stuff. Of course they do. This team is not that far off. But as you can see in the results in Magic Round this weekend, 6 games, the margin was over 22 points. 6 games. Games were supposed to be tight contests, weren't. So what's that telling you guys? I know we've lost 5 in a row and we've lost to some understrength sides. This isn't an excuse, but this is the reality at the moment. That is the reality, and you just have to understand that. And for us for people to want to blow it all up and start again it's such a slippery slope. Our club can't endure that again. Our club needs stability more than anything. The team needs to remain stable. Now, there were 3 changes again last week, 4 actually. When you count Underhill, Burton, Mann, and Max King coming back into the team. Carraz comes into next week's side. And that's going to be another change, right? But come Team Tuesday, what's everyone going to do? They're going to go, oh, they haven't dropped Salmon and they've still got like Bailey Hayward. It was quite funny. It took till round 11 for Canterbury Bankstown Bulldog News to highlight a video where he wanted to highlight Hayward, Tracy, and Preston. And he had Preston there, but knowing that Preston was the last line, it wasn't his fault the try was. And he's like, who's to blame for that? But he didn't show Kurt Mann at the start of it. Kurt Mann committed to Nico Hines. Hines nearly snapped his ankles by stepping back inside. They'd been defending all fucking half. Nothing goes right for them. And some of it's their own fault. Yeah, right. I couldn't blame the referee. And after watching the game, I still don't blame the referee. Sutton was one of his best games. I'm sorry, but that's true. But when refereeing us, that's one of the best games he's had for us. Right? So when you're looking at this game and Mann gets stepped and then he goes through 3 people. And look, Andrew Voss and that are doing their job, but they're constantly highlighting players that they know that the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs fans are targeting as well to validate you. And I'm telling you, they are doing that deliberately. Not because they're the experts and they see what you see. No, it's targeted and it's designed to get their advertisers clicks. And if people don't understand that, they're not too smart. That's how it works. Marketing it's theatre, it's a TV show, and marketing is about getting people interested in products, right? And put in front of sponsors. Now, Jamin Salmon, I listen to a lot of players talk about coaching and stuff like that. An ex-Kiwi player, Elijah Taylor, I really love listening to him, right? Absolute champion. Love listening to Sean Johnson. And we've lost Gas, he'll be back soon though. Like he's nearly home. And he's probably going through a black spot. But if there's so much stuff that's happening with communication in a game of rugby league, and Jamin Salmon, most of the stuff's not happening around him defensively. He's so important to the defense in our team. I got a few comments saying how slow he was. Yeah, he's playing more minutes. He's putting his body on the line. As I said, if we had a better option, I'd be all for it. I'd be all for it. But right now, that guy's very important in our defense, and especially the online stuff. And you're rarely finding that he's causing issues defensively. And I've found that most of his passing has gone to where it needs to be. But unfortunately, every time we're in attack, whether it be the halfback, the hooker, the 13, whoever it is, the centre, the second rower, the 5'8", the passing this year has been the issue across the team. I've said it since round 1. It was clunky round 1 and 2, which I expected. It was a lot better when we got against Penrith, but since then there's been a lot of balls going slightly behind, too high. They're focusing on it in our team, but they're trying to focus on it from certain individuals that our fans are attacking, or putting their frustration on. And I think it's wrong. I do. I think the fact is they go to training, they nail a lot of this stuff. There's something that they're just not getting it right. They're not executing it properly, and it's got to be fixed. It's got to change if they're going to stay alive in this premiership. I don't believe they're in a premiership window, but it doesn't matter what I believe. It's what they believe. And one thing I'll say is that Critter, for example, Critter's effort at the start of the game in his 150th game, and you could tell how angry he was at himself, like he'd let the whole team down. And I think the head's dropped a bit. And he'll be better from that because he rushed. He went out of the structure, and Will Kennedy just went straight by him. He didn't trust Anari, who's been one of the best defenders in our backline all season. Anari Tuala, a player a lot of people just skip past and look past. So that's one of the issues that happened after they took the possession off the kick. Now, Critter's defence after that point was very good for the most part, and especially in the second half. And look, they went out and won. I know the game was long gone and Cronulla switched off and whatever else, but the Dogs, they made some line breaks. They got some things happening. There was some beautiful passes from Galvin and Critter to get people on the outside. There was the effort from Underhill. Now, people will say, why didn't he use AJ or Lipoi? He wanted to get some more minutes into Max. Obviously, he needs that fitness. Probably one of the players that cost them the 36. He probably didn't want to put any of that loss on any of those other players. They were never a real chance of winning it at any point, which was disappointing. But there was things that we got to cheer for some stuff. Now, I don't like being in that situation where my daughter was like, we've only scored 12 points in the Queensland game so far. We need to score more than 12. They got the 16. She was a bit happier because of that, and we nearly got the one at the end. Tuala had a try disallowed and had another one in the corner knocked out. That's still, it's not fun and it's not like acceptable, but it's improvement as far as there were signs there that when we controlled the ball a little bit better, held some possession. Now the Sharks will have that period where they knock the ball down 3 or 4 times in a few minutes. They're just rushing up and swatting at the ball. A couple of those passes were pretty bad, I will say. But they scored off the back of a forward pass as well. Like, it all adds up. It all counts. At the end of the day, the Critter miss at the start, the way we're competing for kicks is just costing us big time. We need to go into those with the intentions that we're catching the football, and if we don't, if we spill it, we defend it, and we bring that back to ourselves because the guys seem so scared of the consequences that they're not committing the way their opposition opponents are. That's what it comes down to. Also, the fight to play the ball in some of their players. You bring Jesse Ramey back and Ronaldo Mulatalo back. Massive ins for them, for that team. Obviously missing Brayley. They've had Jaden Burrell there for the whole time, doing his best. So you've got that scenario where these guys bring that energy, and that's what players like Carraz do for us. That's what we were getting from Montoya last year, that aggression, that energy, breaking people with his hips, stuff like that. So, look, I think that the Bulldogs I think we're about to go on a 3-game winning streak. I know that's hard to imagine right now. We have to beat Melbourne this week. It just has to happen. And they have to go and make it happen. They have to go out there and play confident. They have to make it a really tough night for Suafala-Longo. I expect they're not going to have Liero. They're not going to have Harry Grant. They're not going to have Cameron Munster. And I think they're probably the only three that'll be missing, but they're big outs. But they will have Jerome Hughes. They'll have the Nick Meanies and, the Warbricks and these sort of players out there. Lots of talent. That young Leo on the wing, he's had some great moments, but also had some bad ones. They've got that workman type forward pack. They'll be going out there expecting they're going to win for Bellamy. And the Bulldogs will be going out there on their 2000th match to absolutely smash the pants off these Storm side and get their season back on track. Probably not going to have Critter. I think that's already probably been leaked, especially with Latrell being out. I think they're just going to Critter will go out there and Macca said something that might be just what he needs to get amongst that elite level. One of the things that I've noticed with Critter is that he's never been in this situation. He's always been in a winning team through the juniors. Everything, his whole career has been winning, and he's a winner. And I saw the other against the after the Dolphins loss, he looked absolutely gutted, and it wasn't his best game either. So he's injured, but they're not going to rest on an AC joint. They're not going to rest Preston and Critter. They're going to AC joints, needle up, go and play Origin, come back, play back up after Origin a few days later, no problem. I think there needs to be a couple of tweaks, but what needs to happen is what we talked about last week. Max King and Leo Thompson, the 1-2 punch needs to start happening, and I believe it will. I think the way Max will make up for probably a poor game. That was another narrative through the game as well, talking about how Max and Leo only had 5 and 6 hit-ups between them, and then Fanua Blake had 14. Now, that's because we couldn't get out of our own end. We then made mistakes. They then score. They would get possession again. They had, 23 sets to our 11 in the first half. We managed to turn that around a fair bit in the second. And we got a couple of sets just before halftime. And those, Max was obviously off before then. So the way our team plays, Max and Leo aren't getting back behind the ball off coming out of yardage. It just doesn't happen. Salmon and that took a few more hit-ups than normal. Look, it's just the way it is. We'll talk about Connor Tracy now coming up next week too. Just another reminder. We'll do our shopping list. So we'll look at all the players off contract and who I wouldn't mind seeing come to the club if it's a possibility. I'll look at the salary cap, the one that we sort of, myself and Pete, we look at. He has all the info there and we run it by each other and stuff and give our thoughts. And get pretty close based on reports as well as a few little things. But that's just a little bit of fun and something to do because it's obvious that there's some of the guys in this system and in this club have run their course. And as hard as that is to admit and say without sounding being disrespectful, it sort of happens. But for people to sit there and say they need to sack Gus because he extended Connor Tracy when Connor was our highest point scorer in the Dally M. We've seen the defensive efforts that he did to win us the game against Canberra. Rhett sent me a really nice message about Connor. It's like he's so instrumental to whether we win or lose. And that's a really, that's just a reality at the moment that sort of needs to change. But you got to remember, when you got the best defense in the league, what do the experts talk about when it comes to our sort of system? It's the fullback in how they conduct things and the way they communicate and all that is essential to being the best defensive team in the comp. So maybe this indecision, lack of confidence, missing a few tackles, might have quietened him down a bit. He might be. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but it's got to come back. It's got to change. The problem is, look, the only person that I can see that can go to that position and right now is Critter. Now I see Cade Dykes as being able to do that, but he needs more time. So just throwing him in there now, we're more likely to re-injure him than we are to actually develop him to be elite. What he's showing that he could be. That's the same with young Tay. That's the same with all the young guys in that position. It's one of the most important positions, and it was important we had a player in Connor Tracy be re-signed because our depth in the area, we signed David Bryantton. Now, he wanted to train with the top 30 squad, thought he was gonna, didn't want to, which meant he would get paid more, which would mean he wouldn't have to get another job to survive and all that. And he didn't want to do all that. So he left, he went home. He believed that he could just, will stuff his teammates. He should be able to just get there. And the club's like, no, you got to earn that. You got to work for that, to earn that. It's a tiered contract. It was for how many years, and this is where you start, and this is how you progress. And you could see they put him in Ron Massey Cup, but you play against there's a lot of young guys in that grade, but there's also a lot of tough guys and things are a bit slower, and there's some big hits, and you cop some punishment in that grade as well. So that was definitely going to be to his advantage. But he left. Oliver Smith got homesick, left. There was rumours he was homesick for ages. His mum told his mother told us that, told a bunch of people that he had re-signed for 2 years. That's why the reports came out, because he had. But at the same time, he told his mates he's going back to Queensland for private reasons. Now, that doesn't mean the club's in a shambles. That means that you've got some pathways players that have got talent that you bring in to develop and to help lift the quality of the people that are there as well. And it just didn't work out for whatever reason. This is just the reality. All these things are happening at other clubs, by the way. There's kids getting homesick, leaving, going places, but they're not the Bulldogs. So they're not getting talked about in that regard. Right? Then Carlo Luapu was brought up. Yeah, the club decided after 2 medical doctors went over him that they weren't prepared to risk his life and his welfare in a Bulldogs jersey. They did so much to give him an opportunity. And he was very, this is a kid who, another young kid with his whole family's weight of his whole family and expectation and life on his shoulders, and he had a bad injury. But they got another opinion that said that they reckon he'd be okay. It still would be a risk, but there's risk everywhere. So there was a few different opinions, but at the end of the day, the Dogs made a decision on that. They spent a lot of money for that to happen. The sponsors put in a lot of money for that to happen, the main sponsor. And it didn't happen. But is that such a big deal? So we're getting a lot of this sort of stuff. But is anyone talking about Carraz and Preston? And, you got another one. Oh, Preston doesn't seem to be as effective on the left. Well, I thought his first try was pretty effective. Hey, Vossi? Pretty effective. But he knows what the fans are saying. Why is he on the left? And it's not his fault if, the opposition, Sean Johnson summed it up. Teams have worked out how to, I don't know what's going on there with Gas. Teams are sort of slowing us down to a point where the tackle's sort of not completed. We sort of do this to teams as well when we're dragging them back. That's doesn't count as a slow play to ball because that timer doesn't start until it's called held and the momentum stopped, right? So they're doing that with us a bit, and they're setting their line. And the only way we could sort of punish that is if we get away late offloads and stuff. So that's something that's got to be fixed. Like Braith just tried to put it on the halves and whatever else, and SJ's like, well, I wouldn't be performing in this team right now because the opposition are in my face. What am I supposed to do? And he wasn't just talking. Look, that's not talking about the hook. Bailey Hayward's there in plenty of time. He's getting around. He's showing a lot of toughness and speed. He got out of dummy half nicely the other day through a beautiful pass. Nothing happened after that. The next play was terrible, but he did his job in that regard. But if you're not getting momentum, you've got to get the ball in the hands of your halves as quickly as possible, and that's what they're trying to do. And I'm finding that the likes of Galvin and Burton are getting more ball than they were at first receiver. It's not going through the lock as much as it was. It's still a high amount. But yeah, like, do we get our 13 to play more like a prop and just try to go back to that? But that's changing your style completely. So, look, we'll go through some chats. I've been talking for a while, and there's a lot of chats in there. So let's have a look at what we're saying. Let's get to it. Jacob said, we've been okay defensively, just moments, dumb moments, errors, penalties, discipline. It has been moments a lot of the time. Definitely has been moments. Oh, here he is. Welcome back. Is it true Ponga will be number 7? That'll be for Queensland, maybe? I find that to be alarming considering he said he wants to play for New Zealand. No worries, Andy. I'll send that in the mail for you and with a couple of other things as well, brother. G'day, Joby. Good to see you, mate. Sorry I haven't been able to chat, brother. I just needed to look at everything from my own lens to see what, without any sort of influence. Because I know if we're chatting, we're gonna talk about it. I agree, Brian. Cookie was robbed a try. Tony, will Cameron Strata drop Tracy this week? I don't think he will drop Tracy this week. I think after the origin period, if we keep getting the same issues, or even like next week or whatever, where it's sort of on a knife edge, I think that will it could happen. But yeah, as Rhett said, it's definitely been. There's been some stuff with Connor, which look, even on that right edge attack too, there things breaking down where they're sort of getting confused and stuff. Like, that's not Adam O'Brien's fault, right? Look, I know I've never been the biggest fan of Adam O'Brien, but one thing I've been told is he's an absolute gentleman. And whilst he gets, well, there was some bad body language last year, and there was some. I think his time was up. But again, we go back to it. What was his assistant coach doing? Oh, Gas's internet's in and out. Damn it. But I'm not sure there, Tony. I think dropping Tracy, I think there needs to be an improved commitment to catching the footy, where he's just got to go out there and say, I'm going to catch this footy. And if I don't, I'm not going to worry about it or stress about it. Hey, mate. I got you back on.
Sorry, mate. Just a few internet problems as well since I got here.
Yeah, you're having a few internet issues. Tony says between Tracy and Sewer, they've scored 18 points. G'day, David. David's in John Hunter Hospital getting his back operation tomorrow. Wish you all the best, mate. I'm sorry I
Good
won't
luck,
be giving
Dave.
you a call, brother. But I do wish you all the best. And, big shout out to David. And you let us know how you go, mate. You let us know how you go. Timmy says, to be fair, the Panthers are going through the motions, Dragons, blah, blah, blah. Thanks, Timmy. And sorry to sound disrespectful when I said that. I just want to get to Bulldog stuff as quickly as I can. Lucas says, be nice to get the bounce of the ball to go our way. Lance Armstrong says, hi to you. Tony says, Hectic Fred has truly lost the plot. I think there's a competition between themselves on who is the bigger idiot. Yeah, look, they think they're bigger than the club, in my opinion. I talked to him on Instagram a couple of times last week, and it was rather respectful. I think he's a lovely. I think he's a good human. I really do. I think some of the other guys aren't. I think they're pretentious shits. Guess you just cut out again. So yeah, we do need to win for you, buddy. And he says maybe they're putting too much pressure on themselves to be clinical. Just going to message Gas. Won't be a second, guys. You can run through the. Sorry, guys, just had to message the beautiful Gas. Lance says losing 5 weeks in a row 3 times by 21 plus isn't a luck issue or a 50-50 issue. Well, they all collectively help. If you're not getting the bounce of the ball, it makes it harder. And the system requires that everyone does their role, and obviously individuals have fallen out of that a few times. So there's some vulnerabilities there, and it's causing us problems. Why can't we play up the Warriors far out? Because we were supposed to be in a premiership window. Connor Tracy's shocking. Come on, Gas. Come back, bro. Oh, he's on the mobile now. He's looking even better.
Yeah, I'm just restarting the laptop, mate, while I'll go to the mobile for a bit.
Oh, it sounds pretty good on the mobile, mate.
Yeah, no worries.
Can you see the chats or anything?
Yes, I can now. Let's
go through a bit. I've been talking a lot.
Yeah, let's just see. That's me.
Damien Cook coming to the Dogs, eh?
Let's see where you're up to. Okay. So you've already covered this Connor Tracy.
You don't be after Sam Healy from the Warriors. Who's a gun? Well, look, Amir, we're going to we'll do our shopping list next week. I'm not going to go past the people we've got. And honestly, as I said, up to round 17 last year, Connor Tracy was our best player over 17 rounds. That injury he suffered set him back. I felt he struggled when he come back, and then when he got to that last couple of games in the finals and stuff, I felt he was pretty good. And he's had some good moments early in this season, but there's been he's struggling with confidence. He's He's missing some tackles. He's missing some moments. He's having some difficulties in attack. But he's still as courageous as ever coming out of yardage and stuff. Like, he's putting his hand up. He's having a crack. He's just not in form. He's getting some things wrong. Oh, you want me to read it?
Oh, yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, if you're done with that. Yeah, so Timmy's saying definitely no lack of effort. Keep the faith, guys. Important milestone against the Storm. So obviously I highlighted that in the pre-season about the 2000s game. So
Yeah.
let's hope the club does something to celebrate that as well. Let's get out there and support them this weekend. Lance has got some incorrect information, I'm guessing. Cookie's not coming back. Cookie's not coming back to the Doggies. Don't worry.
Well, if they are, mate, awesome.
And yeah, Mike's telling you what he thinks. Bulldog Mike.
Oh, look,
So-
people take enough stabs in the dark, they eventually get one right. And
Yeah. I think he's going overseas to England, mate. Let's just call it that one. It's been too long for a taste of success. This club, patience is struggling. Yes, Amir, we're all in the same boat, mate. We're getting teased, like we did the last few years, and we're expecting something. So, yeah, we're all hoping that it can come soon, just to get that going. So, stay patient, everyone. Stay patient.
Mighty Magpies always. Is that me, brother? Go the Maggies. There's a couple of guys at a Magic round wearing Western Suburbs Maggies jersey. It was great to see. Up the Maggies. The Wagga Maggies, that is.
That's it. Lance is looking for a public apology if it does happen. None of our forwards ran over 100 metres. I think Michael covered that earlier when he spoke about the way the possession was.
Jamin Salmon did.
Yeah, there you go. And the other thing is as well, when we did have a lot of that possession, I think, what do we have, 38 tackles inside their 20? Hard to make a lot of those metres when you're just trying to score and get over the line. A lot of that possession we had in the second half, especially, constant like barrage of, attack, was all basically on their try line. Like Michael mentioned, quite a few knockdowns and a few other things and restarts, but I think Cherry was the one that eventually broke that to cross over. So
it was actually a nice pass, and I actually agree with Greg Alexander with the stuff in relation to Cherry. Sometimes they've just got to stop trying to be a playmaker on every play and just get the ball out there. And I felt we did that against Penrith. I felt we got early ball.
Early ball is very key when you've got those players that can do a bit of twinkle toes. You need to give them space and time. And what it does as well is it makes the opposition think twice. When you're giving it to them with an ultimatum, like basically go through that gap or else, they're easy targets at the moment for everyone. And that's kind of probably, like you're saying, what we've had, where people keep calling us predictable and easy to defend against, is because, like you said, they're trying to be perfect on so many things, but it's you need to just peel a layer back and say, okay, let's give our players that have that foot speed a bit of room and a bit of time, and let them create something, So that's what we need to keep doing, hopefully. But that finish to the game where we started to just constantly attack, and try to get over the line. That's a good way for us to try to play with that bit of desperation sometimes from the start, hopefully, and try to just turn the momentum from the start, get in front, and then just play our game. Our strength has been taken away from us of that grinding, winning a game and playing that. It's the games, like Michael highlighted, was it 6 games, blowouts this weekend? It's not a coincidence. I mean, if you looked at the game today, at one stage there was it 10 or 11 penalties to the Warriors I'm not even counting the restarts.
12 penalties to the Warriors from
12, yeah, and a sin bin on top of that. But when you look at that, that's just basically saying we're going to control this game. Now, whether they're warranted, yes, a lot of them were. But when that's happening to you as a team, that's it. That game's taken away from you. By the time that Brisbane got their energy back, which they didn't, the game was gone beyond reach. And that's happening a lot in the NRL these days. There's a lot of games that are just gone because you can't catch that. That's it, So, I think we need to just play from in front, get some games going. At the moment, the confidence is down, and from behind, we're just not, we're not pulling teams
we're not
back in
doing it
again.
from the front either, brother. We're not doing it from the front either. We've been started well in a number of games.
Well, we were up
I'd rather
against the
start
Dolphins,
well,
and
though.
that was it. Yeah, I'd rather that. Well, we were 16-0 up against Penrith. Yes, they got back to 16-all, but then we went away with it again, 32-16. So, that worked. Let's do it again. That's what I'm saying. Let's just keep pushing, playing what's in front of you and trying that. So,
Tony says,
so
put Tracy and Sewer back to Reggie to get back their confidence if you leave him the side. Look, I expect Jacob Carraz will come in. Now, if Critter's not in the side, I expect Tuala will move to well, it's interesting. They might put Tuala into right centre and Carraz to right wing and bring in Jeffro on the left wing, or they might just keep Sewer on the left wing with Cherry and move Tuala into the centre position and then put Carraz on the right wing. If Critter's playing, I think Carraz just replaces Sewer, and that'll be the change that is made. In my opinion, I think that I just think they need to go back to what they were starting the season with, where they won 2 games. That's with Critter at left centre. He didn't play against Penrith. Cherry come in and obviously a lot to prove. Got some early ball, did some good stuff. Kick out was great. Birdo had a good game. Galvin had a great game on the other side of the field. The balance was good, and the aggression was there. They fought harder on the ground. They but look, I'm watching Satili Tupanua hit. I've got no issues with him on the right-hand side at the moment. He nearly broke through for a couple of tries. Like, he caused problems out there for the Sharks. So there's things there. People want to catastrophize and dramatize and sit there and argue with me and tell me that, I'm just like I'm getting paid from the club or some bullshit. It's like, well, all the other narratives are out there. They're all out there. If you want to see more of the facts and the truth, look, I'm sick of it. And there's people who know the truth, who've been told the truth, have been shown the truth. They still ignore it. They don't care because they want to. There's just this. I don't know what it is. It's this thing where they just feel that they have to be part of the solution and actually feel like there's so many people who think they're the intellectual equal of Philip Gould. It's like they have this sibling rivalry with him almost. Like they just talk shit about him constantly, especially Queenslanders. Queensland Dogs fans don't like him too much usually, and I get that. I find he's always been good to Queensland. He's always hyped up the Broncos. It calls it out when it's true. It's funny. The Broncos got another home game today. Sorry, they lost an away game to the Warriors today. Traveling to New Zealand was hard for them. So,
well, for those who obviously aren't sure, there is a reason why the Queensland teams like Dolphins and Brisbane do have those games as away games, because if you have them as home games, you cannot facilitate their members. So they have to be away games and be treated that way so you can compensate for the fact that it's 17 teams turning up, 16 teams, not just their own teams. So next year, for those who haven't already heard, with the extra team coming into the league, Thursday night will be activated for the NRL, not for the ladies. The ladies will be going up to Townsville for the Origin earlier in the week. So
But
there will
guess
be an additional day. Yeah.
how many Bulldogs members get to come up here and be accommodated for? How many Bulldogs members are accommodated for when it's their home game on Magic Ground?
Not too many.
Exactly. So
Hmm.
it's an unfair advantage every year. I think it should be
Yeah.
on off. 1 year it's their home game, 1 year it's their away game, and they just wear it.
Well,
They already get the
I'll
they
tell you how
already
it
get
should
a
be
draw
treated, Michael.
based on the TV needs, which is
I'll tell you how it
bullshit.
should be treated. Tell you how it should be treated. Anybody who remembers our celebration last year for the 30 years from when we won in 1995, we had that at Allianz against Manly. Now, that was
Yep.
our home game. However, even as members, we weren't entitled to the tickets for that game. We still had to purchase those tickets like anyone else.
Exactly.
And we had a window to purchase tickets. So maybe the Broncos can be treated the same. They can purchase their own tickets to their own home game, even though it's at their venue. It doesn't mean it's included in their set number of games. Maybe that's how we have to do it, because that's what happened to us last year.
Mm.
So although the good thing is the result today sort of didn't assist that argument, but I know what you mean. I mean, if it had been the other way, then yes, but the result didn't support that argument. They got what they deserved today, and there's not too many people upset about it. I'm hoping.
So the Panthers beat the Dragons by 22 points. So all but one game was decided by 22 points or more, with 3 games decided by 22 points and 4 games by more than that. Isn't that ironic? Don't you think? But I don't know how many teams were down 30-6 at halftime. And then James, who went through a pack of darts watching the game, I nearly started smoking a packet of darts. I was like, oh, I'm going to start smoking durries again. Thought they'd put 50 on us. I was basically saying, can you just put 50 on us, get it over and done with? So we technically can't win the comp. Although it could be the first year where somebody does concede 50 and win it.
Yeah, if any year's going to happen, this could be the one.
I'll tell you what, Manly are making me think really painful things about their chances. It's but again, they got a side built from Brookvale, and even the players have brought into that side have, like Brandon Wakeham, he's been there 3 years now to get an opportunity there. Kohler, Trebojevic brothers, 3 of them. They bring Luke Brooks there last year. He's missed a few games, you know. Fualo come through that system. Jason Saab's been there since leaving the Dragons for ages. So, you still there, mate? You covering something up or?
No, you're right. I'm just trying to sort this internet thing out, mate. It's just frustrating. Keep going. I'm listening. Keep going, mate. Just ignore me.
Brian says people bag the coach for saying there's plenty of positive things. Look what happened to Flano when he pretty much everything is shit and there's no one better to fix it. It's exactly right. Like if he was saying, yep, I'm accountable, I got to fix things like Benji did the other day. How long can you say that for? At the end of the day, you still lost. It's just theatre. It's just drama. And he's also got to go out there and, you know, he's just answering the questions that come to him. But all these podcasters or shitcasters or whatever they are, outrage merchants, they've all just decided now that he's the problem. And they're going to do what they're going to do. And they're going to keep screaming louder and louder and louder until they get what they want. And then, you know, if we want another $2 million in payouts and all this sort of stuff and new board elections and then going out and spending 1.4 million on a this and a that, great. There's no sustainability in it. You know why Newcastle's a type of side that can go and do that, and why Brisbane can go and do that? Now, whilst Newcastle have had a lot of issues getting to where they want to get to, their juniors just keep coming out of their systems. Andrew Johns, Brett Camorley, they're all from Newcastle. Willie Mason's from Newcastle. Fletcher Sharp, Fletcher Hunt, they're from Newcastle, right? It's constantly produces players, right? So, and they play for that region, that club. They're so tied to their home. They'll play for nearly nothing, right? It hasn't been like that for the Bulldogs. We got to a point where I'm not having a go at their juniors, but when a juniors manager goes up to Gus and says, "Oh, I've got fucking offers from other places. Can we talk about what you're going to offer us?" There's a lot of situations where Gus goes, "Okay, so you're not, you haven't forced me to come to you," sort of thing. For your efforts and for your attitudes and whatever else. Doesn't mean, there's a lot of old school stuff in what Bulldogs do. But yeah, managers have been hard to deal with for the Bulldogs for many years because of any good kids that we've had have been targeted, right? Like Avarillo stayed with us for quite a few years, but he got paid handsomely to do it, as did Alamotti. Got paid a lot of money to stay. You had what was Morgan Harper. They made him captain of reserve grade. And then they were like, you can fight for a spot. And he sort of wanted out. And got the offer from Manly to leave. Now, his career didn't really take off. He enjoyed some, he was part of that side that beat a 66-4 or something. I think Jackson Torpenay got a try off a kickoff or something. The ball bounced into his arms or something. It was a weird day. Travojevic ripped us apart. But I guess what I'm saying is that it's recruitment is hard. And a lot of these families and a lot of these managers and that, they want to get their young guys deals. And if they can, they make money from it, right? They're not making too much money when the kid's on a $20,000 contract or a $12,000 contract and match payments or whatever it is. You're all good. You're all good, buddy.
Yeah, hopefully, mate. Let's see.
Oh, is that your laptop again? Oh, back on the laptop. Say hello. No, can't hear. Might have to turn your other camera off. Let's go to John Bryan, who was all. Sorry I didn't get to see you on the day, John. I forgot about you, mate. Sorry to say that. G'day, lads. I was at the game, lucky enough up in the backyard corporate area, so I had a good vantage point watching from behind the play. A diffusal of kicks has been a problem for us all year. Yep, 100%. It was particularly poor again, dead right, so you heard the comment. But I could see our defence line is just so slow to react. They're not sliding quickly. Look, I felt they slide pretty quickly on most occasions, but they definitely didn't when we conceded points. They seemed a little bit hesitant. So I wouldn't call it not quick. I was just like that first try around us that they got around us to go up. I think not the one Critter missed, but the other one where Mulatalo in the corner. That was really disappointing. That made me really angry. I just felt they were passive as John pointed out here. I thought he's definitely right about that moment. That was slow, it was passive, it wasn't aggressive, and it shouldn't have happened that easily. It wasn't even off the back of a This doesn't mean they're not playing for each other. It doesn't mean that the coaches that they don't care about the coach or anything like that. But their resilience isn't holding up at the moment, and that needs to change. Yeah, they've got to get our defence right, and we build off our defence. That's how we've built our game's been like that for 2 years prior. That's why they've brought in some kids who are good with, have natural attacking instincts like Lachlan Galvin. It's just a fact. We can say these narratives. Yep, winning form. You don't change a winning formula. Yeah, I get it. And there's also the thing, okay, well, Reid Marnie was going, but we should have kept playing him. And then we have James talking about the premiership window. Well, if Reid was here this year, so this is the big thing, right? He's got a decision to make. Just to put it all as a, no heat on Reid, no heat on the club. Like, this is the reality. He's got an opportunity to get what he believes he's worth, which is about 650 grand a year, to set himself up for the next 4 years, right? He goes to our club and says, let's do it now. Let's get a deal done. There's opportunities there. I know I can get a job in Queensland. Sam knows this. Sam and Gus are good mates, right? One of only a few good mates that he's got. And it's like, well, no, but the other part of the story we miss is that he's basically proven through statistical data and all the times where he, where we grind back control, and then he would go for the fourth tackle, fucking 40-20, put it out in the full or miss kick it, and next minute we'd be defended again. Then we concede a try. It happened on about 8 occasions in 2023. He got 2 to start the year and then just kept trying to do it. And it happened on about, then never got another 40-20, I don't think, but went for it so many times. And look, they'll never punish for trying positive stuff, but it was usually always after we just defended our ass off, got ourselves back into the grind, defended mistakes, and there would be this impatience, and it would come with fatigue. He just spent that time defending. Now he's like, I'm going to get, it's a positive play. You there, mate? You can hear? Oh, I can't hear you, mate. It's not working.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, mate.
It's so weird seeing two of you on the screen, bro. I'm like, Gas.
Can you hear me now? I don't know,
now,
man.
yeah.
I'm just about to throw something out the window.
I know. It's all good. So yeah, guys, it's defense is that issue. And look, the Reid Marnie thing to finish it off, guys. He had a chance to make good money. If he was the 60-minute hooker that they wanted him to be, with a 2-hooker solution to help develop Bailey Hayward. They had Turpin there that year as well, but he was having numerous injuries, right? Hayward wasn't getting injured. So Hayward would still be on that trajectory of getting minutes and coming in fresh off the bench to play hooker, which would be a different role completely, right? And he's done well in that capacity off the bench. And that's why everyone goes, oh, he's a good 14. Of course, because he comes in when the heat's out of the game. They've now got him. So that's why they had to put him there, thinking of our future, right? And then there's this trade of thought that, okay, well, you don't get rid of your best hooker when you're a chance of winning a premiership. I think that's a fair enough point to make as well. But I think they had to do what they had to do. The decision was made. Reid wanted, and he was offered a 2-year deal. And no one's ever talks about that because they don't know about it. They don't know about it. That's the truth. But it wasn't going to cut it with what he wanted. So his value would have dropped, is what I'm trying to say. If he played as a 60-minute hooker in our system, his value would have been less based on the way it works. And he may have missed an opportunity to go to North Queensland, who would have wanted to make a move and get that role Like Reece Robson leaving them left them a big hole to fill, and they ended up getting Reed Marnie. As he left, Reed comes straight in, and it's worked out well for them, and not so well for us. But Bailey's on that development pathway, and now they're talking to Sam Verrills, up out and out hooker. Not a huge runner of the ball, but has had some good runs. Had a few issues with injuries, but he's a good hooker, and he will help. He's a premiership winner, and he will help Bailey Hayward. And maybe he becomes the starting hooker again, and Bailey, this whole narrative that it's Bailey Hayward or nothing is just absolute not what it's about at all. Here's a young kid who's stepped into the role, who's giving his absolute best every week, who's doing a great job defensively, improved in his first contact, and when he's not isolated by opposition defenses, works really well in that capacity. So, his ruck control's slow. His passing, I find it's improving, and that's what needed to happen. But so when you want to talk about premiership window, I realistically, I just didn't. The coach has got to keep belief with the fans, and has got to keep belief in the players, guys. Of course, but the realistic expectation is that. Do you think they don't know that he needs to develop? And then we get this other thing about Jordan Chan Kum Tong. Obviously the kid's determined to do well. He's come back to his home club. He wants to be an NRL player. He's got calves bigger than my belly. And he goes all right. Right? He's built like a brick shithouse. His passing isn't 100% good at all. And under fatigue, he made some errors and made some missed tackles and stuff like that. It's not going to fix it just putting him in and exposing him unnecessarily. When he gets his opportunity, he'll know he's earned it, and he will fucking make it count. I can tell you that right now. And we've got him in the top 30 next year. Okay? Any thoughts from you?
Mate, it's been said to death on all that stuff, like you said, man. It's
Oh, no, I'm sick
for
of
those
saying
who haven't heard it, like it's 100% right. It's a work in progress, and I've said it not long ago as well. The way that Galvin's playing, the way that Hayward's playing, all these people in these positions, this is not their time right now. They were being developed into what they were going to become. It's just the way that the season and the way that Marnie left, the way everything ended up, the way that things panned out. It means that we had to run with what we had and make it work, but we're building towards it. Now, I can tell you from my perspective, I don't think there's any pressure on Serralda as much as people want to believe there is, because everyone knows that this is what they're building towards, and they can see what's happening at the Bulldogs, at the training, and what the team is up to and what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve. Just because things don't go your way doesn't mean it's not working. It's a process, guys. It's a process. Before Penrith won their 4 premierships, didn't they finish down the bottom of the table, Michael, one of the years before they went on that run? Not long before, 2019, Panthers?
Yeah, they had a lot of inconsistency on their way to there. Like, I remember they were expected to be competing for the comp because they got players like Maloney and James Tamau and all these guys to the club. Regan Campbell-Gillard, they still had Moylan and whoever else. And they were expected to challenge for a premiership. And because Gus had that 5-year window that he put in 2012, like obviously everything started. It was all about, your 5-year plans. Is it a 10-year plan or a 20-year plan? Blah, blah, blah. And he's never actually set a 5-year plan with the Dogs. In fact, it's more like a 20-year fucking plan. And that's what people, as hard as that is to take. And I felt they make some great ground. But anyway, to answer that question, I remember there was a reserve, a trial match, and they had all their stars in their side. against our reserve grade team, and we beat them, I think, 48-10. I remember it clearly when Des was still coach. And they were just like in shambles. Might have even been when DMP was coach, or the end towards with Des. But either way, after they, got to that semi-final against us that we beat them in 2014, they were expected to keep ascending, and it sort of plateaued out and went up and down a little bit. But all under that, Cameron Serrato's there with Nathan Clear. I keep saying all the time, getting those guys ready, and they built a halves academy, which had had Tamari Martin in it, who went on for the Warriors, and it was seamless after. It looks like, as I said, was probably going to happen. The little blondie is having a great year, and all of a sudden Metcalf's on the fucking market because of it. It looks like he's done an ACL. Is what the physio guy is saying. The way that injury happened, looking at it, he's like, he's done his ACL.
Yeah, and he knew, mate. He knew straight away.
He's gone. Tanner Boyd.
Yep.
Ascending. And this is what I mean, guys. You can go and make a roster decision, and that happens. Right? That's the knife edge it's on. But Tiari Martin comes into the side flawlessly. Part of their system. Still there, still doing things. They're 5'8". Chanel Harris Tavita left the game completely, come back. One of the most vicious defenders I've ever seen in the number 6 jersey. He is a great player. And he's getting better and better and better. Gus went over there and what did he tell him? Stop buying players. Stop buy players are going to help your roster, but it has to come from over here. It has to come from over here. And you get the right people in the right people in your organization, and New Zealand will get a premiership one day. All right. Yeah, me mate, fucking the rugby league coach, sat there in 2023 going on about Andrew Webster. It's the tall poppy syndrome. Shoot down Serrato because everyone's said that he was the great coach, and then compare him straight away with Webster when, you're looking at a side that didn't go home during COVID, built up some pretty good camaraderie and resilience, even though they lost a lot of games when they were stuck in Brisbane, based here. Right? They developed those kids at home. They've got a whole country. I suppose it's a population of Sydney or whatever. But that's like Sydney having one team, and they all can't make it in rugby union. And they've got some pretty good rugby league schools there, one which we've aligned ourselves with, right? The one that produced Sean Johnson. So the club's done us so much shit to get itself from the ashes, where they had no sponsorships. They had our best talent was charging the club hundreds of thousands of dollars to stay loyal. And then we talk about, why is Manly doing so well? Why are the Sharks being so successful? Because their kids have cost them nothing on their fucking cap. That's why. And they got heaps of them. And they don't have the biggest nurseries either. Cronulla doesn't have a huge nursery, and neither does Manly. So they've always had to bring in other people as well. But Canterbury are trying to do the same. And we were so far off the pace. And the other thing is, it's not the club for everyone. Just like rugby league's not everyone game. Canterbury isn't the number one destination for rugby league players to come to. Take that how you may. It's not. So when
it's not made easier by the way the supporters are treating the current crop.
Yeah.
The ones who are out there bad mouthing, it's not helping.
Carl Lid out there. He's got all these flags going for Bulldogs for life and in the kennel and stuff. Sack girl, sack us. 200,000 followers. sends me a message. Can you fix my logo for me? Doesn't even say please or thank you. Oh, can you make it better than that? Oh, I like how you do your stats things. Can you help run my page? Yeah, no worries, mate. I'll help you. Then you say, oh, I'm going to stick strong with the club. What happens? You get blocked. Some people just have a different way of looking at things is all I've put it down to. And I say, fuck them. You go on the journey. If you're there when they win, you're there when they lose. Simple as that. And the club, I know it's holding itself accountable. People are writing, what are they doing now? Writing letters saying, we want answers and blah, blah, blah. Answers for what? That we're in a way better position than we were. We've got some guys that are struggling to put it together on the field. We've had some roster things that haven't gone our way. We've made some decisions we may have got wrong in hindsight in the short term, but may set us up for the future, and that's what we're going to work towards. People act like it's never going to be good again. Well, I can tell you now, if you knock down these foundations, which are still being built, you're going to have to rebuild them again. You're going to have to tear it down again and build it again. How many years grace are we going to give the next mob? And who are they? Oh, people are saying, oh, we could get Matt King to coach us. Okay. Josh Jackson. I'm sure that Josh is in the plan somewhere down the line to be a big part of what we do. He is already a big part of what we do. Be careful what you wish for, eh? I say it all the time. I'm not saying Serrato's the be-all, end-all. At the end of the day, I was happy to keep Mick Potter. I would have loved to have seen Jim Dimmick get a go. But I think this guy knows a fair bit about coaching and high performance and how to get young fellas going. And as I said, the team with the least amount of games together, I had this tracker which I was going to sell, but my idea behind building it was that I was going to give it to the fucking betting companies, or I was actually going to go against the betting companies with it. Because for the first 6 rounds that I tracked it, when there's volatility in results, teams with the highest amount of games together won 80% of the games. And the only team that fucked that up were the Bulldogs. And the Dolphins beating the Roosters early in the season and had a couple of wins and looked all right. That messed with the tracker as well. But for the most part, it was like, yeah, if you put a team out there which have played a lot of games together, yeah. And look, Canterbury should be improving because they've had games together with that core, right? But it just hasn't happened this year. But still, we're still one of the teams with the least amount of combined game cohesion. And with current representative players, we're one of the worst teams. I was hoping that, if Preston and Carraz and Birdo had a great year and, Kick out playing well and Critter having a great year and maybe King and Mann keeping their spots, that's enough representation throughout history to win a comp. Proven through historical backed up. Only 2 teams which have had under the less than the average, which is 4.5 representatives, were Manly in 2011 and Wests in 2005 in the NRL era. Lance said, "Man slipped Michael in Man's defence, maybe the wrong boots, poor preparation." It was wet, and it was 24-6, and we had no possession. And Nico, Dalian Player of the Year, pulled his pants down, and then 3 other guys weren't able to cover the space. Bailey was the hooker. Was the marker from the play. His job's to get across, and he'll probably own that himself. Cooper Clark, We let go of Cooper Clark. I'm not knowing much about Cooper Clark. Who's he playing for at the moment? Any ideas, Gas? I didn't know much about him in our pathways.
I think they might be talking about him playing with Melbourne at the moment. But I think Ryan was saying that he might have been with the Tigers, not the Dogs.
Oh, okay. So he's going all right, is he? Yeah, he's a young boy.
I'm not sure about Preston and Origin at the moment, guys. We'll find out tomorrow, but it seems like the form of the team might have dictated some of the players that might get picked. So every chance for Noah Blake takes over Max King's role, etc. Critter will probably hang on to his spot because, in fairness to him, he's never let the team down at that level. And irrespective of whether Latrell was in or out, I still felt like Critter, deserved to keep his spot. But at the end of the day, you play to win, guys, and the coach needs to pick a team he believes that can win. And hopefully they pick a team also majority on form, players that are ready to hit the ground running. But I do feel like the decision to swap the fullbacks might be a bit not sure about that one. Bringing Tedesco back, taking out Edwards. We'll see what happens there.
So let's go to this fucking joker here. Sorry.
Who you got, mate?
Who is he? Joe Zappia. G'day, Joe. Nice to meet you, brother. Let's be honest. Jamin Sapford offers nothing in attack and defense. Let's be serious. Let's clip this one. Jamin, well, he's the only guy got over 112 meters. Now, people say, oh, it's because he kept running with the ball or he hogged it or his post-contact's gone up a fair bit. So what was that? Post-contact, 41 meters. How many... he's played a ball speed, 2.77 seconds, and he's actually averaged that for the last 3 or 4 weeks. Best in the team. He's played a ball speed.
Almost Cameron
And
Murray.
he made 39 fucking tackles with 0 misses, 0 misreads. So there's a bloke who played for his fucking mates, in spite of what people say about him. He offers nothing in attack and defense. He's the guy who's usually coming in and pulling, comes in and drives people back to where we want them to be, to put them on the back foot so that we can set our defensive line. He's that guy as well. He's getting his hand on the ball how many times? Sometimes too much. I won't doubt that. And I think if he was more durable and a little bit more had a bit more speed, he would be an absolute complete player. But, people talked about his lack of runs was a reason he wasn't good enough. Now he's running the ball. He's getting post-contact. He's making 39 tackles and doing that most weeks, by the way. I'm not here. It's not the Defend Jamin Salmon show. It's the provide the context. He scores a try last week. His tackle efficiency is 95%. His running meters average this year has gone up quite a fair bit. He's averaging 88 meters this year. Last year was 53. Most years it's under that. And his tackle efficiency is at a record all-time high. So if you're going to put shit on a player, I don't think he's the man. I really don't. You just decided that you don't like him. You want someone that I don't know what you want from him. He's the one getting back doing a lot of the stuff. He's helping him with some of the yardage stuff. It's not always perfect, but oh, that's right. He got bashed from the inside and dropped the ball off a hospital pass where someone blindsided him and absolutely smashed him. And although he was like, ref, they must be. He just assumed they were offside, and then he's like, nah. Looked at the screen, goes, nah, that's a great hit, and congratulated Adam Fanor-Blake for smashing the hell out of him when he didn't see him coming. It was a shit pass though. But that's why he sucked. Is that right? Is that your moment in the game? Or what were the other moments when he decided not to throw out the back to shape when the opposition was standing on our team off a slow ruck, so he took the hit up? Like, what did you expect him to do?
Michael, don't waste your time with him, mate.
I just
He
want
doesn't
people
have
to
any.
tell me, to explain
He,
to
do-
me.
he doesn't have any backup explanation, anything to
They
say
don't.
about it. It's just a narrative that everyone else is throwing about, and it suits him, so he just throws it out there as well. That's it.
I've got one bloke he's an all right bloke. He's sitting there doing screenshots of salmon when he's got his hands on his hips. If you're taking runs, or you just took the run on the fourth or what, and you're doing all the defending, you're not going to be leading the line chase. Sorry. If Jamin's on an edge, playing back row on an edge, he's always leading the line chase. The amount of tackles he makes off his line too is, look, the guys know how important he is. That's the main thing. And if he wasn't there, we wouldn't have made the finals the last couple of years. Simple.
And we dropped down when he was out injured with an ankle injury too.
We did. And then he came back too early and he was out of form.
Correct.
But as I said, he had a bone spur growing off the screw in holding his ankle together. And was playing through that. So you try that. It hurt more to walk than it did to run, to be honest.
Guys, at the end of the
Barely
day, when you give up your position in the NRL, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get it back. Case in point was Luke Metcalf, guys. Last year, he took them into the top 4, and they were going well until he hurt himself and was out. They dropped out of the top 4. Now, he gave him his position to someone else because of his injury. That person has now basically taken that role, and now he's been forced out of the club, and off he goes. Irrespective of what happened today to his, to what's his name, Boyd. So Tanner Boyd. So that's the way it is, guys. Players don't want to give themselves the opportunity not to have their position because you don't know if you're ever going to get it back again. This is the NRL. Somebody comes in, they're red hot, they're going. That's it. It's not guaranteed, guys. So at the end of the day, that's what these people do. They get themselves back. They want to fight for their position. They want to get back in the league. It doesn't mean that because you're, like Critter doesn't want to sit there watching us beat Penrith and he's not out there enjoying it himself. He wants to get back out there and help the team as well. So they all do it, guys. This year there's been high attrition, high injuries across all clubs, a faster game, everything. Whatever it is this year, we haven't accustomed to it. But like I said at the start, for those of you who weren't there, the teams coming 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th so far this year after round 11 were the top 4 teams last year. It's not a Bulldogs problem. It's an NRL problem. Things have switched, guys. Teams have stood up. Some have come down. Some need to adjust. Is it going to finish like that by the end of the year? Probably not, but who knows? The way it's going at the moment, it's not in our favour, and it's not in the favour of the other 3 teams that were in the top 4 either. So it's not, but it just sells a lot more papers when it's only the Bulldogs problem. No one's talking about Canberra. They were minor premiers last year. No one's talking about them.
They won
being
the
down there
bye
with
this
us.
week.
There you go. So
we just got a donation from Mr. Incredible. So where is that? We've got to go down to that, mate. God, we've got a lot of chats to get through. Hey, fellas, it's now or never to make a big call. I really think Birdo should be moved out of the half. I don't think he should be because there's no one to go there. That's just a fact. So he needs to stay there. And I really think that we've got other options that I think Anari Tuala back into the centres and will help us defensively. And also he was looking the goods. Like he looked good against. He didn't look out of place going up against Latrell Mitchell, which I was really worried about. And then he played well against. He's one of our best players, and on the wing I find he's doing the job, but I think he's a better centre than a winger. And right now Birdo's got to get some things going, but I felt he's having a crack. He's having a crack, and you could see him the amount of time doing the run around plays off the back of the scrum and that. He was having a crack. The effort was there. He was putting some hits on in defence too. Like I felt he had a better game on the weekend, but everyone got their Birdo bomb, resulted in bad field position twice. So there you go. But, you got kids in the stand, Bulldogs fans going, oh, Birdo should be kicking it, not Galvin. 10-year-olds. Listen, obviously raised by their parents. Listening. I don't know. Thought on Verrills meeting with the top dog. I think, I spoke a bit about that before KB. I think he's a hooker and will help in the development of all the young hookers we've got, including Bailey Hayward, who I don't think's a bad hooker. I really don't. It's been a number. Jeremy Marshall-King had never played hooker until Dean Pay put him there. Remember that? I know he had a running game out of dummy half, but he also got injured a lot and then fell down defensively quite a bit as well when he got tired. So, who else we got? Brian.
Some people were saying Hayward and Hayes looked like they didn't want to be there and had no effort. That's something you could never accuse those two of, especially. Good shout out, Brian.
Yeah. Look, this thing, when they got their heads down at 24-0, like, they've just lost 4 in a row. They started the rot. They lost to Parramatta. They lost to Brisbane. The 3 games in Queensland. I know the coach mentioned it, but it's hard. We struggle to win up here for whatever reason. It's not an excuse. It's a reason why it's, they don't use that as an excuse, but it is hard to win up here. Our record says that entirely. Even when we've done well, we've had the one win over the Broncos and the one win over the Titans since he's been at the club. Let's keep going. Apparently he was in the system for a little bit. He was very impressive. Yeah, could have, should have. Didn't. We went with other players. I'm sorry if that sounds disrespectful. I'm just trying to get through these at the moment. We also need to remember we've had only 3 games at home in 11 weeks. We are 1 and 2 at home. That's another factor we have to weigh up. Well, we've got to make it the Fortress this week, guys. And look, I thought they were on track to scrap that game against the Cowboys. It didn't happen. Needs to happen this week.
That's a confidence thing as well. Just that lack of belief at the moment. So you just overthink something without even wanting to. It's just a psychology thing. You're just trying too hard, or you're trying to overplay it, or you just, look, Galvin got his pants pulled down trying to get the ball over the line. Like, it's just one of those things, guys. Just anything and everything that could have happened. Just popped out. So these things happen sometimes. It's just the way it is.
Well, it's happening
Other
a lot.
times,
This stuff's happening a lot in the last 5 weeks.
The last 5 weeks, it's happened. So we keep pointing it out every week. Everything that keeps happening is happening a lot. That we keep seeing it, guys. It's just, once it spins around, it can go your way. So stay patient. Yeah. This one we've spoken about a lot, guys. Kicks and Carraz are a huge out for us. They are instrumental in our second phase play. And at the moment, the NRL is being dictated to by second phase play. It's just effort on effort, guys. And these guys, that offloads that they get away for us, we're absolutely missing those. And no one else can give offloads away, especially Carraz's offloads.
We'll look at that last off. Max King, with a minute to go, went into that collision with knowing he was going to offload the ball. And it was a good one to Bailey Hayward.
Yep.
Burton running onto the ball, saw the opportunity. Galvin literally bursting from the pack to back him up. Now, if people can't see, I know it was at the end of the game, and they did have a lot to play for, not just for the fans and Magic Round. It was Birdo's game. Like, there was some big moments. It was a big day. Underhill's first game, all that sort of stuff. And they fucked it up. But what I saw from that was what we can do. Now, I know to the amusement and happiness of 45,000 fans, I reckon over 90% of those fans wanted Galvin to drop that ball. Right? That's what the narrative.
Did you describe what happened at the start of the game? Did you describe what happened at the start of the game?
He got booed by nearly everybody in the stadium, and there was actually Bulldogs fans who booed him as well.
It was pathetic, guys. It was loud and pathetic. You look around, and everyone was booing when they called out Galvin.
30-year-old men with children beside them booing this kid.
Just because of what the media says. They don't even know the kid. So for those of you who think he's the problem, have a look at yourselves in the mirror, guys. He's a 20-year-old.
Oh, but that's the thing. People think they can diss you if their kid earns more than your kid. They think it's all right to treat them like that, you know? Okay. But it's never a narrative for us, that's right, that we're missing players. It never is. It's always, all teams are missing players. Or they'll call out the games we lost to teams that had injuries. So
I'm still here, mate. Continue.
That's good, buddy. So I'm sorry we didn't keep Cooper Clark, Lance. I know. Look, Paulie's been saying Critter to fullback is the only option. Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, so we already spoke about that before, mate. You want to go over it again? Fullback, go again.
No, I'm just getting through.
No, you're right.
When he starts with the collision, we have plenty of big forwards who can play long minutes. Hayward is very good at putting runners over the AD line. He is, and he's especially good coming off the bench after we've done that. So to get over the ad line, we need to we didn't do that as well as we needed to last week, and we couldn't get field position, and then we weren't resilient to defend our errors. And as we said, it's this culmination of things that we're not owning and we're not winning. And if we start to win some of those moments, it will mean that we have less tries put on us and have opportunities to score more. But I don't think, we showed we can get around some sides. We showed that we can, even that last thing, that intent to offload, Burton coming through off the ball to Bailey Hayward, who was there for the offload. He was there for it. Right? He was following the play. He's supporting always. We should have scored that. And I know they say consolation tries and whatever else, and people find energy trying to get that consolation try. I get all that, but that wasn't bad attack. We just fucked the last bit up. And great desperation defense by the Sharks, who want to get their seasons off. They want to get some wins happening. And we've got great rivalry with that team, and it goes through a lot of the juniors as well. Been a lot of our young guys and their young guys played a lot of football against each other too. So a lot of rivalry there. We need to win more collisions, and I think we'll build off that. I think there has been some confusion around the spacing in attack and defence. It's funny, rugby league coach sends a message to everyone when the Bulldogs are down, whatever. The Bulldogs need a new coach. And then I sent him a little message when South were up. Sorry, we're getting flogged and lost by 22 points, incidentally. And I'm like, looks like Souths need a new coach too. And Wests need a new coach. You know, they beat Canberra at Leichhardt and they got injuries. Oh, do they? Do they get to use that card, do they? Now, they might still beat us. We might be going that bad. We might get worse, like who knows. But I think there's a lot that can just be not said. But that's the thing with all these people. Words are supposed to mean something, and they think that they can say all this shit. And then when the club starts winning again or whatever, it's like, oh, okay, I was wrong. Well done. Well done. Oh, they've improved their form. I just don't see myself as playing a positive role in the culture of the club by conducting myself that way. And look, I've had those moments. We all have. But blokes who are getting towards 50 should be learning how to control that sort of shit. Instead, I see so many people my age who are actually getting worse. You know? I don't know. Paulie Walnuts is going on about Salmon, obsessed with him at Lock. It's like, okay. All right. You know better, bro. It's Mondown. It's not the bounce of the ball. Come on. There has been the bounce of the ball on about 6 tries in the last 5 weeks. Of course there has been.
Yep.
But I think you've only just joined the podcast. We've talked about there's been a real lack of urgency too. Not urgency, but I don't feel that we've been matched the intensity of our opposition or the confidence of our opposition in the high ball contests. That's been a problem with wingers. If we go back to when teams that do well, the wingers catch a lot of those balls. In defense and attack, and it's so important in the context of a season. You drop too many of them or lose too many of those contests, you concede points, you're chasing your tail. We need to get some more wins in that area of the game, or it's going to be harder and harder and harder. The spine needs a revamp. The spine is a developing spine, and Tracy is the person. I agree with Paulie in the way that Critter is probably the only option right now until we can get Cade Dykes to get that development and miles in his legs and confidence to come into that side. But the last thing you want to do there now is put those guys into that role unless the coaching staff think they're ready to go, Gas,
Yep.
And when they are ready to go, they will pull that trigger if they will pull that lever if they have to, because they're not just allowing people to have a position because they're their favourites. It's called trust, and you've got to have some trust and loyalty. You've got to. Another call saying Salmon's a utility. He's a player who can play a lot of positions. But he's our 13 at the moment.
Just a shout out to Kylie Marie. Good evening, guys. Had a fantastic time at my first doggies game at Magic Ground. Cheered the boys on from the moment that first kickoff till the siren sound for the end of the game. I know we didn't get the win, but still proud of the boys and up the doggies. Well done, Kylie. Glad you enjoyed it. Sorry we didn't get to catch up at the game as well.
Yep, Kylie. If you want to catch up with us at games and stuff, we're going to the Titans games. That'll be coming up in June 26th or something like that on a Friday night.
Friday night, 6
Trying to
o'clock
get
Friday
organised
night.
a whole bunch of people to go there. Good to get a group of 5 or 10 of us. So yeah, guys, and gals, and sorry, I know it's not politically correct anymore to say guys, but sorry, that's just how I talk. Just going to bring a banner up. Make sure you like and subscribe, guys and people. If you're a member of the channel, or if you want to get involved to support the channel, you can become a member. That continues to grow every week. And every $5 you contribute, you get a ticket into the draw for a jersey at the end, which will be drawn at the end of the month. Plus a portion goes to support Walking for Autism, the walk that myself, Gas, and Dave are doing as the All Things Bulldogs team for this month of May. Where
Thanks
we've
for
already
everyone
raised
who
over
supported.
$1,000. Hey,
For everyone who supported already, thank you very much.
Yep.
So I know from my side, Elaine, Brian, and also Timmy, thanks a lot for all your support. And Rhett.
Thank you so much, Rhett. So Rhett's just got himself another 4 tickets into the draw because he is a monthly member, and he's just contributed 3 tickets right there with a $15 donation. So thank you, Rhett. Much appreciated. So that's all helping, guys. And if you want to be a part of that, feel free to have a crack. $5 gets you a chance. And look, if you pay $1 this week, $1 next, and you get him $5 in total before
The draw.
Before the draw, you will get yourself a ticket. That's how it works.
And a good comment there by Brian. I think a couple of those intercept tries early in the season rocked confidence of Tracy a little bit.
I said that today on the walk, I think.
Yeah. So a couple of times he's thrown the pass a bit too hard sometimes, guys. If you've seen him, he's been a bit close and he's passed it too hard, thinking that he doesn't want to make sure there's an intercept. So it's just something that happens and you don't even think about it, rather than just pop that ball up to make it easier to catch. So, it's just all these little things, guys. They all add up. But the team's still out there trying, and on any given day, we're going to put 30, 40 on someone and blow them away and then get on a bit of a run ourselves. So it's not far away. This NRL is a fine line between winning and losing games. It's just as easy as Sewer passing to Cherry or not could have been a game for us, guys. It's just that easy. That simple little things make a big difference. So as a coach, you always worry about yourself, but I think the support's there for Seraldo, and I think he knows the efforts he's putting in. It's only a matter of time before things turn around. So if that wasn't the case, guys, there's a lot of other highly respected coaches that would be in the same boat, and they're not. So it's a long season. It's a long process, guys.
Adam O'Brien, when he punched the window, that's the sign that he's been around long enough to know that there is a media narrative and a Bulldogs fan narrative that that there will be a scapegoat, and he would probably expect that he would be the one to be chopped first if that was the case. So that's pressure they're all feeling. I'd just like to know what other assistant coaches get put through the ringer than the ones that we
None.
bring to our club.
None. And it's only our comments as fans, the people who are highlighting Adam O'Brien, that are bringing the attention to the media. They're only grabbing it from your comments. Nobody, they know, they're not stupid. They know how important or not important or what it is. The coach is the one that everyone's after. Look how they tried to paint a poor picture. Oh, poor Michael Ennis. Oh, he got... No one cares about the assistant coach, guys. The coach is the one that makes the decisions. The rest of there just a support, like the other 20, 30 people there on the training field, running the plays, doing all the training when you go to watch the training. How many were down there watching training all year, guys, going down there? I don't see many of you down there at all, but yet you're all couch experts all of a sudden, knowing exactly that Seraldo's lost the dressing room. Well, he hasn't, guys. Nothing's been lost. Nothing's been lost. The only thing that's been lost is your faith towards your own team. And that's what's driving the media at the moment. So for those of you who are on here and come on here, you guys know what it's like. And it's going to be endurance, fight it through, come out the other side. But for those of you who are just chasing cheap targets, I can understand Adam's reaction the other day, guys. I spoke to him last week. I can understand his reaction when he hits the window. Back off. He's there doing his job. Don't harass him. Back off.
Well said, mate. Well said. Look, there's even Newcastle supporters who would 100% back what our Dogs fans are saying, because he sort of said a comment that he knew he probably fucked up when he said it. Sort of had a crack at them booing the team because he's trying to protect his team. But g'day, Harsha. Thank you so much. And it's been great having your contributions every week over the last few weeks. And that gets you. It's not too another
part of the way.
And you're in the draw for a jersey, Harsha.
Part of the way.
Hardaway?
Part of the way. Part of the way.
Oh,
there.
part of the way. Yep. But we appreciate it. It all helps. It's all, and a portion of that's going to go towards Walking for Autism. Yeah. So look, Knights fans were disillusioned at the end. They're a fan base that barely ever boos their side. That's one of the things I've always liked about the Knights. But I will say that, look, I wasn't a big fan of the chopping and changing of his halves, but that's what a coach under pressure does. It's quite often they'll extend a coach for 2 years to take the heat off him and then basically have the conversation if things don't change pretty quickly. It happened to Seabolt. It's happened to Dean Pay. It's happened to a lot. Actually, was doing some investigation in that. It's happened about on 9 or 10 occasions where 2-year extensions have not gone the distance with coaches. But yes, who's up next?
So John Bryan is adding to the no luck factor. How many fouls on players have we seen all season? Yet we get pinned for a potential 8-point try.
Yeah,
that's just the way it's working, guys. That's nitpicking again, guys. Just yeah. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Because it's really an attitude problem, coaching problem. As Gus thinks he's like a god. Oh no, don't question him. It's nothing to do with that at all. But that's the narrative you want to run with because it suits it gives you a scapegoat for what's happening. You obviously didn't like Gus beforehand. And unless it results in good vibes after a game, it's just going to be all their fault constantly. That's why Ciro on that, like I sit there and go, God, please just drop that player just to appease the fans to shut them up. That's how I get sometimes. It's like, oh, you're making it harder on yourself. But
So
the fact
Montoya
of
was
the
the
matter,
problem? Is that what you're saying? Montoya
huh?
was the problem? Montoya was the problem? Did we start winning after Montoya went out?
No,
Exactly.
we haven't
Exactly.
won.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. They move. This is what I say. They move all the players,
Mm.
and then they just add that to another growing list, and then they go, oh well, obviously they're not playing for him. It's just an easy thing to say. Look, we all live in the real world, guys. We understand what Tim Cheen say. You got 4 years to do your roster, blah blah blah, and the rugby league world will not allow you to finish what you're trying to start. But what I know with our club is that we're coming from a lot further back than other clubs. I don't care if West had 3 wooden spoons in a row. They had the junior base in theirs. They had the junior base Gas. I need to go to the toilet
Yeah.
now. Here and she's pouring a drink. They've got the junior base. Their club's poorly managed. They've got a war between factions. Balmain and West. Like that's understandable. It's been hard for them to get it right. So, and look, they've been attacked mercilessly, like in the media for a long time. But they still weren't coming from where we were. When Gus and that got back to our club, we were still paying over $2 million for players to play at other clubs. And he had to do a bit more of that to fix it.
$2 million to start with. That was in
start.
someone else's cap, guys.
And they worked out to sell our whole team would have cost less than 50% of what they needed to spend on a cap.
There you go.
And look, there's a lot of people who backed up that data, not just Phil Gould. That's just not making excuses for yourself. That's like, you go and look how much these players got paid to go. Jeremy Marshall King, when we brought Reid Marnie to the club, had an option in his favour and he chose to walk out on it for a pay cut. He went to the Dolphins for less, right? So he had 350 grand guaranteed at the Bulldogs. But he went to play under Wayne Bennett, probably because Benji said, go do that, mate. I reckon that's a good decision. He's now earning 700 and something grand a year and has played about 30% of the games since. Right? So he's one player who's earned himself good money, but as he actually, and he does make a huge difference to that side through the development he got at Canterbury. He chose to leave. Nick Meaney chose to leave. Worked out well. Their fullback kept getting injured. They had a lot of players going to Origin, so he always was an important cog in their 30. Plus, he kicked goals. But we offered him a contract. The Storm were able to recruit because of their great side. Are able to go and recruit Coates and Meaney for less than what it cost us to pay for the Fox. But we had to do that because the Fox paid for himself with memberships increase and the fact that Burton kicked for the Fox and the intercepts and all that sort of stuff. Oh, g'day, John's just become a member. Great to see you, mate. Thank you so much. And that helps contribute as well to Walking for Autism by being a monthly member. Much appreciated, John. Thank you so much. Old fella Dave's off to bed. Good night to you, Dave, and looking forward to seeing you at the Gold Coast game, my brother. Yeah, but guys, this is what I'm talking about. A lot of roster stuff that's happened. But what we inherited was Dean Britt and nothing against him. I thought he had potential. Kyle Flanagan as a kid had to come in and play under a forward pack that was getting smashed and destroyed. The props that we brought. see if, Ava see Manafana, I can't say his name, but I loved him. I remember we played a game against Parramatta and he smashed maybe Corey Norman or someone. Absolutely smashed him. It was like we hadn't seen one of our forwards smash someone for 2 years. See you, Manaf and Ava. You end up retiring from the Dogs. He but he didn't really play too much. He was injured a fair bit. Jake Averillo off the bench. Yep. We had Will Opawati, who everyone's saying is too slow. Really talented guy. Dalamatini Zalesniak. Running
How much
harder
did we
than
pay for
anyone.
him to go? How much did we pay for him to go?
400.
There you
But
go.
Dallin, he left Penrith because we had to pay him 800 to leave. And he come to be the fullback. We paid Corey Allen 500 grand and Wayne told him to go because that's great money. So these are shit that we inherited as a club. Trying to get Nick Kotrick to come when they had this war chest that they were developing, but spending before they even got to use it, as some of that money got freed up for James Graham and Sharon Woods and Moses Mbai. All these players, J-Moz. We're paying for them to play elsewhere, guys. So don't tell me it's the same premiership window and it's the same, because it's fucking not. It's completely different. Oh, Brisbane got the wooden spoon.
Gus has
Did you
earned the
see-
right to do what he's doing, mate. Gus has earned the right with his experience to do what he's doing, mate. And you got to back
Yeah.
someone like that. He's earned the right, mate. He knows more than all of us know, and what he's doing, he's doing for the best interest of the club.
That's right.
So for those of
part
you
of
who
that's
think
not
just because we
listening to
lost a few
fans.
games, yeah, exactly. Where does that get you?
Exactly.
Who used to say that? Warren Ryan, who was it that used to say that? Or whoever. There's a few of them. When you start listening to the
Gibson.
fans, guys, Jack Gibson, start listening to those guys, you've joined them.
That's it. All right. Well, so Blake Wilson got his first run for Manly.
It
That's
came on
another
as
one
an injury sub,
Came on as an injury sub. There you go.
and then
But
came
there's
back
another
off
one.
again.
So when they were losing, he wasn't getting to go either.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a great talent. We like Wilson. I was thinking he might have been an all right fullback one day. Charlie, who I have a lot of arguments with, he called me a pretentious, egotistical, hiding behind alter egos. Well, this is the man, who said Paul Stringer needed to come into the NRL side, and he's trying to say that he didn't say it. He never saw the guy play. It said that in 19 minutes that he made 180 meters or something. It was just a mistake on the website. So he's sitting there in his little humble home, loving the Bulldogs, thinking that he could run the joint. This is just my ego talking out of turn here, but I think it's quite funny. And then he's sitting there going, this guy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, it was a mistake, obviously. He didn't run 190 unless he got 2 intercepts, which I doubt, being a bit of a front rower. This guy, he's never played NRL, and it still hasn't. Ended up going back to the Roosters where he came from. Had potential, wasn't a bad young player, but the point I'm making is we've got all these experts, and some of them are moderators and whatever else, and speaking to all these people, and they're getting lots of following. They come out every time we're losing. And to his credit, he comes out and defends players like Marcelo Montoya because he likes him. And he used to defend Jake Averillo all the time because he liked him. and he's always thinks the answer's in reserve grade. But he doesn't watch reserve grade games unless he's lucky enough for Fox Sports to actually play one of those games. And I actually don't think he doesn't. Last I knew, he doesn't subscribe to them or anything. So he's getting free to air games, the radio, and stats on the internet. And he's telling a whole bunch of people about all these young guys that should be coming into the first grade team. And he's not the only one. And I guess back in the day, you know, I was excited about Benny Barber watching Toyota Cup and a few others, and I couldn't wait for them to get their chance. But the point I'm making is that this is creating, all this creates narratives and stuff. And then the media jump onto this as well. It's dangerous, man. It's dangerous for stability to our club, which is why we do what we do. It's why I see these people doing what they do, and I've watched them do it over a lot of years.
Here's another comment for you, mate.
Huh?
Here's a comment for you. You can have a read of that one if you like.
People need to be patient with Gus and Serrato with the roster on the off field. They will fix it. Too many forget the struggles of the club before they arrived at Belmont in the first few years. Well, it's funny because Joey did one of the posts today to sort of do that, and he got attacked left, right, and centre. And then one guy got on there and said, the Dogfather's the only one, and me and him argue sometimes, is the only one who stands up for the club no matter what. And look, Joey put up his New South Wales team. Joey's another one who's for nothing but love of the club has continually put post after post, thousands and thousands and thousands of posts, mostly supportive. Started losing, he started saying some things, and then he sort of thought, this is the team that I would like to bring out. And I absolutely went to town on him. And then I asked, and Joey was another one, and it's another one of his moderators who's been doing this for 5 years. Joey said, I don't watch them. I just look at their stats. I don't have time to watch the games. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, it's good for the algorithm. It's good for the page to get people sharing ideas and fighting. But there's got to be a responsibility there. And I guess you need to trust. Look what Cade Reed, great talent. Did it do him any favors debuting him the way that he got debuted? Has it done his career any favors? You tell me. Maybe. Might be the making of him. Reality is he's got a journey of about 5 or 6 years before we find out. And unless that club starts to get somewhere, which they might because they've got the flexibility to be able to their juniors love playing for them for a start, so they don't have to pay them too much. They've got some first graders who have been in the club for a long time who are on minimum wage, who get paid fuck all, and then able to go and buy some players, which they've always done. And they've got backing to do it. We don't. So, look, Joey, I loved your post today, and a couple of people tore you down, and a lot of people supported you as well. Because I know how hard Joey works for the club. You know, he'd be driving around his garbage truck and fucking posting shit as it comes to hand, trying to give it first to everybody so that they can get the news. You know, and he tries to articulate his points. And, you know, sometimes I have a crack at Joey and I make fun of him. That's my poor ego coming out. Because I'm like, no, you're not fucking helping the club right now. You get credit because you do so much, but right now you're not helping. You're making it fucking worse. Talking about, okay, let's bring in Fletcher Baker, Kay Dykes, Gordon Chan, Kung Tong. Basically, 12 of the starting 17 players out of the team or something. Maybe it was 10. I'm like, and he's like, oh, it was just a bit of fun and that. Well, I don't know, but people look at all this stuff and go, Yeah, that's what we need to do. You got hectic fucking Fred there. Who I love listening to, sitting there screaming because 4 changes to the starting side wasn't enough. The previous weeks jumping on the chopping and changing bandwagon. Players out of position. This hybrid stuff's got to go. The hybrid stuff was working for us and got us into the position that made 68% of your weekends happier over the last couple of years. So it might not be working right now. Changes to the spine will come and will evolve if we can get players like Mitchell Woods to the starting line. If we can get players like Cade Dykes resurrected. He'd played 9 games in 3 years, guys. It takes time. You got to let him develop. We've given him an opportunity. We've got kids coming through. Underhill gets his debut. Jones gets his debut. Sewer gets another crack after. It was basically like another debut. Rinnick Harmer's there, who's had a long injury after the Fijian representation. Like, give him a chance, guys, to fucking get these guys in. You don't just put them all in and go, give him a go. Couldn't be any worse. It's just fantasy. These guys know what they're doing, trust the experts. And we see the ones with, I think one thing we all agree on, though, is we see the guys that come in and make a difference and look like they're going to be NRL players. We tend to agree on a lot of these guys, but we don't need a new cult champion to follow. Jacob Carraz is still there. Preston's still there. Matty Burton's still there. Why can't Galvin be our bloody cult hero as well? Big Leo. He's having a crack. He doesn't run soft into the opposition, that's for sure. He cops everything they've got, and they're it's on, mate. It's on. And AJ's is all about that. Jack Underhill, how many one-on-one chop down tackles did he do?
What about your mate Harry Hayes, mate? He's got a following.
Did I take him down? I took him down.
Oh, mate, that's it.
I've got him up here now, just so to prove that he's still up there. Steve Folks, Harry Hayes, 2004 Bulldogs. There's my mate Reed, but I've also got the 2026. They gave us that poster up there. That was the download, and they gave us posters at the signing, and I actually got a canvas made for it, and I got that sign on the day. So,
Mark was asking you, what about Tuala at fullback, mate?
Tuala's can catch the ball. He's he'll make some tackles in cover. He's got some speed. He's got pretty good hip movement. But it'll be a big ask and a big task.
Mm.
But if he had to, he could do it. Just like Carraz, if he has to, he can do it.
Mm.
And if we brought a young guy in, you just want to bring those guys in when you get a bit of confidence.
This is something you've spoken about quite a bit, mate. Tommy knows what the problem is. We've been saying this one all year, though.
Yeah, the passing has been shocking. Yep.
Mm.
And not just it's been inconsistent. Go back to that Manly game and watch the passing in that game. Bulldogs Manly last year. The execution of pass from woe to go to beat Manly that day. That's what it took to beat that side. We haven't seen that level since then, effectively. It's been poor. But we need a guy like a Carraz. We need Carraz. We need him. I'm not expecting him to be at full. But yeah,
Brian's
well pointed out, Tommy.
Brian says he feels sorry for Sewer. I think Cherry's decisions have been erratic, which is putting Sewer in about three minds, and people are blaming him for all the bad decisions on that side.
Brian, I agree that he's been copping a lot of the blame. I think Cherry's also been getting a bit of the blame as well. It's just so funny though, like the narrative. It's like for the benefit of views and algorithms, yeah, make sure you talk up certain things. You know, oh, Bronson Cherry's getting a cold out here. Well, maybe, but they want to do that because he was the one that Serrato dropped. See, he was the one that got dropped. So it's like that was a wrong decision. Yeah, it was great to see Bronson score that try. And look, I felt he was a bit quiet. I felt that he didn't ask for enough work in the first half. So he was sort of the guy they'll keep him fresh for a moment. And in the end, he scores a try. So maybe sometimes that's by design. But also, if you've only got one run after 40 minutes on a left edge, you probably need to go in and take some hit-ups for your mates when they've only had 11 sets.
Macca. I feel that the negative discourse around press conferences is really frustrating to see. Some entitled fans and influencers making up what they hear the coach say or feel entitled to be told everything.
Great point, Macca, because the hectic thread thing, I actually said, can you give me the segment? Can you actually give me the clip of Serrato promising there would be changes? Where he promised there would, because that's he's one of them. And I think Macca might even be talking about that. Where he promised there'll be change. He's never promised any change. He just said if some guys in New South Wales Cup want to stand up, well, that afternoon they were comprehensively beaten by a side with a lot of players that nobody knows who they were. They know who they are in the Roosters. That's for sure. They've a lot of elite young talent in that side. That will form the part of some other rosters. And, you know, we got Mickey Nassar from there. They've won too many good young halves. He played his first game at fullback in Jersey Flegg, I think, last week. Did a good job. We got the win against the Roosters with the Bronson Rubin field goal, 2-point field goal near the end of the game, and we're behind. But in New South Wales Cup, we were beaten by a side they should have beaten themselves. And the player who got called up after some injuries was Sam Hughes got injured. Curran, a little rib issue. I think it's the same one. Jackie Underhill gets to come up to Queensland and play in front of his family and stuff and have a beautiful moment.
And there's your next question there, mate.
I'm not sure. You know, I think it's one of those things where, you know, he ran himself ragged. And let's hope he's there or thereabouts for the rest of the season. I really think he's earned that shot. He didn't let anyone down. I don't feel he was the best player on the field, but you could see the effort. And that's the same. He plays the same way every week. And sometimes he has moments where it doesn't go, where he'll drop a ball or he'll get pushed back and dumped, but it's never off the effort. It's always he's running himself ragged. As I said, he's one of these guys who throws himself at somebody, and he gets hold of them low, and his legs clean people up all the time as they just swing around and smash people in the face and whatever else. I've seen it on about 5 occasions in juniors.
It was his time for the club to dip their toe in the water and see how he performs on that stage. I think he wouldn't have done himself any disfavors there. He would have put his name up in lights, and now he knows that he's a consideration moving forward. That's all he wanted. You know, sometimes you can do something in cup, you do whatever, but when you get your chance, okay, we think he's earned it. Let's see how he goes. And yes, the result for the team wasn't great, but individually, he done himself a lot of favours.
Look, we thought he was going to debut last year. But then when I looked at it, I'm like, well, he's actually coming off the bench in cup most of the time. So what am I? This year he's been starting.
Injured a lot as well.
Yeah, little niggles and stuff. This year he's been starting. He's been the starting front rower. And they've invested in him because DSF's been coming back, and I would have thought, he would be starting after those back injuries and that. But no, they've Undies has been starting, and he's earned his shot. I know Sam Hughes is underrated and undervalued, but I think with King and Thompson building minutes, I'd like to see what can happen with Sam Hughes coming into the game off the bench fresh and having the option to do that, but also love the fact that they actually can carry that extra body. And Jack Underhill showed that he could play pretty good minutes. He played some pretty good minutes. When he played 35 minutes or something. Let me have a look. What did Jackie play? 30 minutes. 30 minutes straight. 4 runs, 34 meters, 15 post contact, which is good. 3.5 second play the ball. 95% tackle efficiency with 21 tackles, no misses, and 1 ineffective. A very good effort.
There was that chance where they were trying to look at him to say that he might have had a concussion, and he just absolutely waved it away and said, "There's no fucking way. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm going." And off he went. He ran running away. So there was no way. He was like, "I just got on the field, my debut. You're not taking me off."
Jacob Preston, 40 tackles, 1 miss. Silatili Tupanua, 47 tackles, 1 miss. Leo Thompson, 41 tackles. So when Vossi's sitting there creating a narrative about Adam Fanua-Blake, he'd made 27 tackles or something, and 114 meters from 15 runs or whatever it was. But Leo's done 41 bloody tackles. Bailey Hayward, 38 tackles. Max King, 34 tackles. He played less minutes than Thompson. Galvin, 20. Birdo, 14. Galvin missed none as well. He put his body in behind. Critter only had to make 8. Bronson only had to make 4. So, look, they played us through the middle, and then when they swung it wide, Anari only had to make a tackle. Connor 2 missed. So there you go. Jono.
James is contradicting something you said, mate. He's saying that he thinks he's heard Gus say that it will take 5 years to get the Bulldogs to where he wants. He goes, he can quote that for you word for word if it helps you.
If you want to go drag that up and give us a link to where that is. But I've heard Gus say, I don't know how long it's going to take. All I know is that what should have happened with the Bulldogs, that tree should have been planted 20 years ago.
Yes.
And they went so far backward in the time they were trying to fix their salary cap. It made it even worse. No one butchered their cap the way we did. I've not seen another team do that. So between Des and Raylene and the stuff and the guy there before, Tom or whatever his fucking name was, Ray Dibb, Raylene, Des, we've all heard the story of what happened. They were all making promises to different people at different times. They were all people going on out on their own. Des was like getting promised things that they were taking allocated money from one area, giving it to another. It was a shit show. And it set us back a long time.
Mate, let's keep working through, mate. We're a little behind, a lot behind. Joe, Abdo was saying that Magic Round's been great. I think they're looking at it from a numbers perspective, mate. I don't think they're looking at it from what happens on the field.
That's irrespective. So,
But agree, Joe. He's a fuckwit.
yeah. Do you think we should get Sam Healy? If we can, I'll take him.
Yeah,
he's a
good.
great talent.
Another good young hooker who's been developed under Wade Egan.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We've spoken about this quite a lot. Exactly, mate. Yep, Ciro's good coach, long term, 100%. 100% positive. All good. Kurt Mann showing his. I don't think so. Did you watch? Look, we were at the game, Michael. I don't know if you saw what I saw the other day. I said it to Aki at the game. Kurt Mann was still getting in and hitting hard in those tackles. I would not be surprised myself if he gets picked for Origin again. Is it going to happen? I don't know. But he still, when he's on the field, he still drives in there and hits hard. He was knocking blokes over.
yeah.
And to be honest with you, I could see and you could hear it crunching, guys, on the sideline, like from the game. He's still driving in.
That's pretty tough. That's Sam Stones. He copped it. He copped it bad from our team that on Friday. We smashed him, and I knew it was happening. And then I went and watched the game live, and I just focused in on all that shit. He did a great job there, winger.
The Bulldogs have been around since 35, successful. If they're going to listen to any numbnuts sitting around in a garage smoking stuff, thanks, Andy. Evening, Uzo. It's been tough watching our boys lately, but still having faith. Making it to the 8. Significant changes need to be made. If you were the coach, what would you do to make the team better?
Right. So there is a 5-year plan thing out there. Thank you to James. I'm going to watch it, and I will give the context on that. But I never saw that. But that was 4 years ago. So the end of 2022.
But that plan doesn't mean it's a premiership. I guarantee you.
Of course not.
Yeah. So he's not going to make that same mistake twice. Anyway.
And to be honest, the plan to get the team back from the absolute rubble and ashes that it was in.
It happened faster than 5 years.
To get them being competitive again.
Yep.
Took 3.
Yep. There you go. Amir says we should get Aaron Clark, offer him big money. Mate, if the Warriors let him go, they should execute the whole board.
Yeah, I actually love what Aaron Clark did at the Gold Coast Titans, and it went missed in the commentary, and then goes to the Warriors. Helps, and you got a whole big bunch of blokes around you as well that run hard and hit hard.
The reigning Daily M lock of the year, guys.
There you go.
Imagine making 40 plus tackles in the game and you don't play 80 minutes. Make most of the meters and get accused of offering nothing. Semon's not the most talented, but fans scream for effort. He's got plenty. Great shout out, Brian.
Well done, Brian.
Do you think Carras would be better in the centres than the wing? I think we've got too many options for centres at the moment. Like, I think what he does on the wing, the way he comes in at the moment, I think he's probably given us more impetus. That second phase play that he creates. Especially his uncanny running style. I think it works better for him in the wing. You want someone a bit more direct, hitting those lines in the centres, but and using that foot movement and creating plays for someone like Carras. But doesn't mean he can't play in the centres, obviously. But
he scores tries he shouldn't score on the wing just due to that.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad shout. And I think realistically he'd probably want to end up there. But Brian Toto, one of the greatest players in the game, is a winger. Let's get to James Teasdale's comment.
Which one you want, mate?
Because James saw him at the game, got some photos with him. Great guy.
Yeah.
Dressed beautifully in his striped Bulldog suit. Yeah, Bulldogs are the only issue. He's just unfairly picked on. That's true.
Yeah.
DW's are going, well, remember when he played for the Dogs? Yeah, but they only have to pay him $400,000 a year. And he's never played. We brought him as a spine player because we had none. Where is James? There he is. James says it's disappointing, but like I said, I've always been a Dog supporter. Spent way too much money on merch to support another team. I just ordered James Graham's retirement card and Fox Bobbly. And you got a couple of gold cards at the game too. So well done, brother. You've got them all now. He's got all the bobbleheads.
Good job, mate.
Yeah, I think we'd already got to a lot of that anyway. British Bulldog, also regarding Newcastle, no doubt they have a great talent pool, but what have they not had the success to show for it? Well, they've had a lot of injuries. They look really good in 2023. Winning 10 in a row, and I thought they could actually give the comp a shake, but going to New Zealand was one step too far.
Mm.
And just shows you how hard it is to keep momentum going in the NRL, especially at that time of year. No overpaying for players, please. That's just got us 10 years of heartache.
Yep.
They showed it with Penrith. They have a lot in them. People say, yeah, that was weeks ago, but they show they can win more. Look, I didn't want to keep going back to it, but it's the truth. It was like a box they had to tick. Probably thought it was all going to happen the following weeks, and they've had their pants pulled down and really struggling to deal with it. And it's just nothing. And it's not just bounces of the ball. There's been lapses in moments, lack of confidence on high contested I can't even fucking talk now.
Contested.
But anyway, contested possessions. All right, we go back down.
Mate, did you call someone Sharon Woods here? You got Harry off his nut? He always calls Aaron Woods Sharon Woods, mate.
Oh,
Especially
mate.
with his post-try celebrations.
Especially Danica called him Sharon as well when he had to do some naked thing in the ocean, and she could see how little his little fella was. She said, Liam's got you covered. I can tell you that much, Sharon. It was very cold though, apparently.
Here's one for
He's
you,
probably
mate.
got me covered.
Actually,
He wouldn't
before
have
you do
Harry
that
covered
one,
though, that's for sure.
before you do that one, I just want to shout out to Brian for this one. He's gone out and done the extra $3 for Harsha and welcomed him to the podcast, mate. So
Beautiful.
thanks for your
All right.
support there. So
We'll put Harsha on
that gets him to 1. Now, Harsha, all you got to do is join as a member, mate, like John Bryan did, mate, to get yourself an extra ticket in there, mate. And Harsha's got a question for you as well, mate. Does the salary cap actually level the playing field? Isn't there differences in the junior systems?
Massive differences in the junior systems, and that's why these fools saying that juniors, that Penrith and that should be getting compensation for developing juniors and then losing them. Whoever come up with that is mental, because they're not all the same pools, and some clubs have to buy, invest heavily in external pathways, which cost a lot more money, and you have that issue of people wanting to leave and go home and stuff. It's harder. It's just going to make those teams even stronger. But at the end of the day, this is what I keep saying, which I've heard all the experts talk about it. And this is when you go, okay, sometimes too many knocks to the head. If a guy like Stephen Crichton doesn't leave Penrith, is there an opportunity for Casey McLean right now to be a representative, considered a representative player? Is he Has he gone past Critter? Of course he wouldn't have. So where does he go? He goes to another team. So the difference is that what happens is that other clubs then, if they keep the players that they've developed, like Critter, and get dispensation, for example, to keep them, what do they just keep players in their top 30 for 10 years and pay them over the minimum wage and more than they should be able to because they develop them? Like, that doesn't make sense. If there's other clubs who don't have the same size juniors systems and junior pathways, and there's no sort of move by the NRL to allocate them a similar type of thing, well, Casey McLean and that have got to go to another club anyway. It just means that Critter got to stay, but McLean looks like he could be anything. You know, and it's all right when they get Alamonte on a 1-year deal on a minimum wage because his manager and the Bulldogs couldn't sort out their differences. If that's what happened, like, that's just me putting it that way. Like, there's so much in this stuff that we just don't. People say things, but it's like, okay, yeah, you get to keep Kickout and you get to keep Burton and all that sort of stuff. But you get to keep Izzy Katoa, do you? But when's he get a chance to play with Cleary there?
Mm.
You get to keep Luai, do you? All right, well, yeah, like, it's bullshit. I think
Let's keep moving, mate.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving, mate. That's all right. Harry was saying we should get Luke Keary as attacking coach. He's got some good footy smarts.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I wouldn't mind Blake Austin, to be honest. I think he's got a great way of looking at the game.
Yeah, I like Blake. Except he said he was going to come on here and says, "Oh,
that's
yeah,"
all right, mate.
And then doesn't come on here.
It's all right, mate. He didn't want to push his career further too much, mate. That's all. Serelda wasn't the issue last year when the team was executing the systems. He has coached in place. Critter looked like a different player in the second half. Could the shackles be coming off? Let's hope so. Let's hope, like Michael said before, once he plays Origin, let's hope he comes back bigger and better, hopefully, and fires up. Just gets that confidence again, you know, after the Blues smash the Maroons in Sydney next week.
That's it.
Yeah, thanks, old fella Dave. Harry, you're watching United earlier. Yep. Jack Todd. Jack was actually training last week. I saw him at the training. He was there having a run, looking good, doing some extras as well. He's back. I said, "How you feeling?" He goes, "Feeling good." So who knows, guys? He looked pretty solid too. Big, strapping lad, guys. Really, really good. But yeah, fingers crossed he can come back soon, you know. Harry's still waiting for our rockstar fullback since Ben Barber. Yeah, mate, they're growing on trees, or maybe they retired last year and they're coming back next year. Who knows? Pappenhausen, who knows? Storm are vulnerable, yes. I'm not upset. AJ didn't come on this week. Don't want to overload our young blokes. That's all right. I think Underhill deserved his chance, and when it was 30-6, we didn't score quick enough in the second half. That game was a bit gone. Tracy down on confidence, yes. Big Roo, yeah, wasn't very good, mate.
Oh, where you, Big Roo? Should have said hello, mate.
Yeah. Don't understand Galvin. Hey, he's the best behind in a bad team. Yes. I wouldn't be surprised if Gus did say 5 years. Imagine a 20-year plan. People would lose their shit. Yes.
Well, look, there is a thing about a 5-year plan, but it wouldn't have been that I promise we're going to win a comp in 5 years. It would have been we're going to not be putting spooners perennial every year.
Galvin kicking game at halfback's improving. He's only going to get better. Still have questions on whether or not he's a halfback, but I think I'll wait and let him develop halfback before judging. Mate, I wish everyone was like you, mate. Then we can maybe let him stop and start playing a bit of footy without the pressure. Out of all the losses,
Eventually,
I reckon that was our best.
he's going to be a great half, whether he's wearing 6 or 7, and it probably will end up wearing 6, maybe 13 one day.
There you go.
It's
Yeah,
just where we are
exactly.
right now.
Yeah, 13. I still think 13.
All right, we might get Melbourne this week. Well, they're going to be missing their origin players, but that hasn't worked well for us the last few weeks. Beautiful, James.
How's this telling you to, because you wanted to have a pee before, mate?
Rashik Wanim.
Timmy reckons Carraz should be back this week, turn things around. Max got some game time. Yep. Get Hazemil Masri in there to rev up the boys. If the club wanted him, mate, and down there, let's get him down there, mate. The buy for yourself has come at a great time. Yep. Okay. And 5-year window, boss, he said. So it's all right. When you have a look at that, mate, we can have a look. But and Heinz is saying what I like about Jack Underhill is the way he wanted to be around the ball on every run. So yeah, mate, a lot of good stuff. Out there. But
mate, go watch the Jersey Flegg Grand Final. I think he played maybe 70 minutes in that game, and he makes the last play to win us the game with his defence. So look, they know what they've got. There was this talk that he's going to the Eels, which I hope is not true. But if that's the case, it means they've come in and offered him big money.
There you go, there, mate.
Oh, there we go. I don't know. I'm hearing these stories, but there's been a bit of a pile on lately.
And that's what happens sometimes when you play your team. When you play these new guys that in the first grade, especially like Magic Round, all the teams are there watching. They go, "Oh, this guy looks all right. I bet you he's not getting paid much at the Dogs. Let's go see what he's worth."
Well, the manager's like, yeah, but he's supposed to come into the top 30 next year with Gordon and Logan Spinks and AJ and Jethro. There's 5 Pathways players right there, guys, to add to the ones already there.
And also, just a quick shout out to Matt Attard, guys, that does the Pack Mentality, the podcast. We caught up after the game the other day as well. We had a good chat, guys. So make sure you also have a look at his podcast. He does a lot of stuff about mental health, guys, which is very important. He started it, off his own back this year. He's doing very well with it. So, yeah, got to support all the ones that do well for the Dogs, guys. So go out there and have a look.
Yeah, we'll get him on soon too.
They're rating us again like 98. Wasn't it 95?
95
as well. Yeah, 95. The Fab Four, mate. The Fab Four. All right, guys. I think I'm done, mate. That's it, guys. That's a review of all reviews, guys. I'll hopefully get my computer working again. I'm sick and tired of holding this phone. So,
all right, mate. I'll let you go, and I'll finish off with a few of the chats, and I'll give it 5 more minutes.
No worries, mate.
All right, great having you on, brother, and I'll see you Tuesday night and talk to you tomorrow.
See you, guys.
Gas is out of here, bros. All right. All right, Harry, I'm going to argue with you on this point. As I said, our cap was a mess, and we've had to fix it, and we've had to bring players in, take opportunities, take risks, let some players go that we didn't want to let go. And that's it. And who has he bought? Well, I reckon they've got pretty good value out of Max King, Jacob Carraz, Jacob Preston. We've bought Leo Thompson. I wouldn't be writing him off just yet. We bought Stephen Crichton. We bought Viliami Kickow. We bought Reed Marnie. I think we paid like 500 for Sexton because he was already on pretty good money at the Titans. He got upgraded pretty quick. They were paying a portion of that. We had to pay the final year. So yeah, we're not buying Adam Fanua-Blake when he's not a club first player. I agree with the loyalty comment though. Who's loyal? Our fans certainly aren't. Like, look, one thing I say when I went to the signing the other night, I thanked the players for signing with the club. It's not this case of being in absolute awe of them and I tried to talk to them about something individual and not really make it too much about footy and treat them like they're guests in my house because this is our club, right? This will be our club for the true supporters who have been here for however many decades and will remain that, whether young or old, who have just bled the blue and white ever since they've known they could. These players will be at other clubs, a lot of them. They'll come and go. And for the most part, they're in the now, they're representing our club and representing us. And I get that. But we're also representing our club as well. So if we want, we've let some players go and it's easy to pinpoint those players. But what about the players we've kept for the most part? And it's never every signing is a risk. What, you want to go and sign Payne Huss and maybe he does finally do an ACL and can't play for the whole time. That can happen. We've got some players that had a history of injuries like Max King who touch wood and have played a lot of games for us. Same with Connor Tracy, had a lot of injuries, but has played a lot of games for us. So, yeah, they've got good. They've had to get. See, that's the difference, Parry. We've had to go and pay, even though we're only paying the Salmons and the Mans and all that when they come to our club, like 250 grand. The roles these guys were bought to play were roles. A lot of these roles, we would want juniors to fill that vacuum in the future. And pay juniors minimum because they want to be at the club and they love the club and they want to stay. And a lot of juniors will say that. But not all of their managers are that keen on that philosophy. It's like, okay, well, I can get 250 grand at the Eels. I'm going to go there. So it's not as fucking cut and dry as everyone think it is. Yeah, just go and sign the fucker. Give us some hope. For the first time, we got to see Max King and Leo Thompson together. Now, obviously, it wasn't a great performance by our team, but that will build, and those guys know they go in there with the intent to offload, with the intent to hit hard, to work together defensively the right way, to win that ruck, to go 1-2 with good energy and take that energy out of the defensive line and set it up for our impact players to come do the same. And get AJ running off the back fence, which I love saying that, AJ off the back fence. We can get cranking again. Hopefully before this season's a write-off. Some have written it off already. Some wrote it off when we won 2 games to start the year by a small margin. That wasn't good enough. They see finishing top 4 or winning the comp as the only acceptable pathway for this season. And those people, though, good on them, each to their own. But that's definitely not where my expectation is, and I'm not mediocre at all in what I want. But it's not the same. So when you got kids playing for minimum and they fill a big part of your roster, right? That allows you to spend the extra money on the better spine. That's what Melbourne have always relied on. And then they get journeyman where Bellamy gets the best out of them. That system gets the best out of them. We've done a lot of that. We're trying to get the best out of some players that didn't have as high a ceiling as a lot of the people that they've competed hard against. But the coach never told them that. The coach said, you've come here for an opportunity. Now you go show us what you've got. And we're in a position of competing again within 5 years. So it's not going well right now with the results. Big losses isn't good. We hate it. But we need to fill our roster with kids that are happy to take less while they earn their stripes and get their opportunities. And then while you're doing that, you hopefully got players in your spine that you're building from there as well. And we've got a couple of young guys, and I'll call Galvin a development pathways player because he was only 19 when he came. Right? Yeah, I know he'd had 40 games or whatever it was. He's now played 50 already. He's only 20. He's going all right. These guys, we get them in there playing for a little bit less, and they want to do it because they don't want to leave our club. They don't want to go anywhere else. Young guys, Finau Latu, get him cranking where he needs to be. Keep as many as we can. Know we're going to lose some. As Roger Federer says, you got to know you're going to lose. You can't win every point. He had a great winning percentage in games, but he only won just over 50% of the points in his whole career. It's knowing how to handle losses. Now, times that by 13 blokes on the field competing against another 13 blokes, bit different. And a tennis ball sort of goes where you expect it to go, even though it's because it's round. Not a fucking rugby league ball. That's why we call it the rugby league gods. And sometimes they're not with you. And other times they are. But yeah, this is not the same fucking playing field. They have to get value out of players that, other teams aren't fighting too hard to keep. And and I think they've done a good job with that. The Reed Marnie situation wouldn't have, I'll tell you now, that situation wouldn't have happened if Reece Robson didn't go to the Cowboys. Because the Roosters weren't after Reed Marnie. I'll tell you that right now. But that's woulda, coulda, shoulda. I get it. But again, he was getting his name dragged through the mud, through a lot of people in our fan base and by the media until Galvin come to the club and they decided, oh, poor Reed Marnie. Poor Toby Sexton. Anyway, guys, I think I made my point. And we are waiting for our rock star fullback. Oh, so Cherry catching a cold because Ciro dropped him. Turkey's Nest. Tracy looks mega down on confidence. Does he need to go back to Cup for a few weeks? He might have to, but as I said, there's got to be a plan B that they're happy to go with. And who knows? 5-year window. 5-year window wasn't a winner comp. And if he said that, oh, well, I got it wrong, but I fucking doubt it. 5 years to get this club back being competitive, and he's done that. And you can't say that roster, even with the spine before, I've got a picture of the spine, Connor Tracy, Reed Marnie, Toby Sexton and Matt Burton. All the experts said it. The same people said that they couldn't win a comp with that spine. And most of the fans agreed. And of all losses, I reckon that was our best. All right. Trent from Punchy, Doggies. Sharon Woods was the only player that would wear Schoolgirl's hair comb when she played. Trent from Punchy for New Zealand. I reckon we've pour me some Shiraz, Jacob Carraz back this week. We can turn things around, and Max get some games under his belt. We'll be back in the winner's circle. All right. How much has he missed out, Harry? We're linked to every player. Now, Gus has made this pretty obvious. Player managers, the club has changed a lot. It's gone from a position where player managers went from our people chasing hard for someone to come to our club and touring them and all that sort of stuff to player managers ringing Gus all the time. It's been a big change, and that's a complete fact. And people on the board know that to be true because of what they knew from before. Gus has actually approved some that have been proven to be good choices that they didn't do. Linked to Moses, linked to all these things. It's called the recruitment wars. You get linked to every club, and you got Gus Gould's name there, and the Bulldogs who are trying to build. We have forced other clubs to pay more to keep players or to take those players. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do that, nor should they. You can't just go all in on these players. Right? You just can't. But who have we missed out on? Well, I'll tell you, we've only won 2 players. We've only won 2, and that was Leo Thompson and Lachlan Galvin. They're the only 2 we've actually won. I think we were able to keep Jake Turpin and Blake Wilson on 1-year deals. When Parra wanted Wilson and Manly wanted Turpin for this year, and we're able to keep him. But outside of that, we haven't really won signatures. We've had people come to us that have basically can't be kept in the club they're at, like Kikau, Marnie. Parra didn't fight hard to keep him at all. In fact, they went and paid $800,000 for that Pommy guy from the Raiders instead of keeping Marnie. So happy for him to go to the Dogs on 600 or whatever it was. And then you've got, there's stuff all. Critter. Penrith hadn't made him an offer. They waited for I don't think he was too happy about that. Come to the Bulldogs. They decide, no, you're going to be captain. We love what you're doing here. It's a big test for his captaincy, though. Big test. Because he is not used to losing this many sort of games the way that he has. Big test. Right, I'm expecting the Bulldogs to bounce back and to win and go out there and find confidence. And for Max King and Thompson to have a much bigger game, for Carraz to come back and have an influence, and for there to be a lot of continued aggression, to Tilly to keep playing well, Preston to go out there and show that he's still a chance if he doesn't get picked for Origin, all that sort of stuff. Always doing a long shift, brother. All the booing and Galvin still be at the bistro to meet fans this week. That's it, bro. Look, even when I went to when I went and did the signing, AJ Jones had to punch him in the shoulder because he's a kid. He got distracted, he's not real good at making conversation and stuff, from what I can tell. He's still a fucking kid. He's got a lot going on in his head. But I said, thanks to I thanked every player there. Thanks for coming to our club. Not, oh my God. You know, I took photos with Salmon and Man and with Underhill and Hopboy. That's it. But I'm like, it's quite funny though, a lot of the stuff that, you know, I don't think they gave two fucks, you know. It goes in one ear and out the other with footy players, as it should. They're not our friends, and I don't ever expect that they think they are, you know. They obviously love Harry because of the way he commentates their names and stuff, and they love their Instagrams and shit. But yeah, Galvin, I said thanks for coming to the club, and he didn't hear me. And AJ's like, because Dave and I were there the week before, and we shook AJ's hands and stuff. Dave said, "Oh, you know, your dad come on to All Things Bulldogs and thanked us and on the chats and stuff." And AJ, "Oh, did he?" Yeah. Anyway, AJ punched Lachlan in the arm and said, "God, the guy just said something nice to you, man. Like, show you some." He didn't hear me, and then I said it again, and he's like, real appreciative. But yeah, you know, I had my daughter with me, so I was acting all, you know, like I'm the man. Wrong. It's a oneer to play for the Dogs 100. Gavin isn't the problem for the millionth time. Anyone who thinks Gavin's issues a low IQ moron. Harry, no idea what you're on about, champ. Love your passionate videos, Harry. We aren't saying go out and spend on whoever. We're saying spend wise. I got Fox for Montoya, Ferrari for a Datsun. Like, come on, Mike. Not that at all. Who was available? And I'll tell you one thing about Josh Adokar. He can tackle all right. He catches a lot of players. If you know, he can show them the sideline, get hold of them. Josh Adokar is one of my favourite ever players to put it where the blue and white. But there's a standard that the club couldn't accept. And they let him go. It's not a simple case of swapping Montoya for bloody Josh Adokar, though. Come on. You come on, bro. Come on, Harry. Montoya, opportunity for him to come back to his home club. Not on big money. He hasn't come on the money that the Fox was on, and the Fox was going to get on his next. Look, I don't even know if we're going to keep him anyway because he was going to get an upgrade. Till he did what he did, then he sort of had to take what he could get. He was going to go to South, join Latrell and AJ in that. End up keeping AJ. That's it, Brian. Man was driving unlicensed on drugs and almost killed a 4-year-old girl. Yeah, I get it, but that's got nothing to do with it. That's the system failing, man. Mam's not a bad kid. I think was badly advised, and he's read the room wrong a couple of times as well since. But he's also getting booed constantly, and our fans boo the hell out of him. You know, I don't mind when we boo Tino and Dane Gagai because of what they did to Burton. It was funny when we started that catch cry. We're talking about it on here, and there was a lot of social media stuff, and the Bulldogs fans turned up to Newcastle and booed the hell out of Gagai, and we beat them there. And they turned up in droves to watch the Bulldogs smash the Titans at Combank. And Tino, as a wanker, went loud and clear. And I think he's a good bloke, Tino, from what I can tell. Bumpers into Marnie's face, though. And then ragdoll and Burton while Gagai hit him. I thought that was shit. But our fans gave it to them. But Ezra Mam, fuck me. Poorly advised. Absolutely ridiculous when people bring up Fox making a simple, basic error in judgment. Stop it. It's a bullshit excuse. No, he did the wrong thing and he lied about it. that was it. And it wasn't just that. There was other things as well. He's got a bit of baggage, the Fox, and he's had to overcome a lot of shit and deal with a lot of stuff. And the Bulldogs helped him immensely. And I think, he changed his whole body to be a Bulldog. He wanted to do more of the physical stuff and not just be the speed merchant on the side. He really wanted to be you could see he built himself up, and then he got smashed by a bloody Bryce Cartwright. Fucked his shoulder and had a shit season because of it. And then had the cocaine thing. I'm not saying I would have sacked him, but I'm not going to blame the club for having standards. And the Ezra Mam thing, that's up to the Broncos what they do. It wasn't a case of that's our club and their club. Now, if Marcello Montoya did it, would anyone have cared? If we said, Leah, see you later. So it's just a double standard, in my opinion. It's his first error in judgment, rehabilitation answer, not exile someone for a small mistake. Yeah, well, I've just talked about that. It wasn't his first error in judgment, by the way. And I'm not talking about drugs or anything. I'm just saying there's a bit of baggage there. But I love the Fox, and I'm all for rehabilitation. And I'll say he's doing all right with Para right now, and he's had some good people helping him, and he's got a good family. And they were sitting there watching while people put shit on him, and while others come to his defense. They were on the Facebook pages because his wife come and said stuff quite a few times. Trent Barrett's dad was on the pages. Bailey Hayward's dad's there. They're all there copping the crap from our fans. Yeah, I don't care what other clubs do, Lance. I really don't. Cheese went to Souths. Yep, I backed the club for he didn't take accountability. He got caught. No other decision to make. And that's a standard for everyone in the club. Yep, Leo Thompson didn't even realise he can play. He played 70 minutes against us when Saifidi injured himself going out in the field in 2025. It's all right, Lance. Chill out, bro. No one's expecting anyone to be perfect, bro. Harry, Leo Thompson is 25. He's an international front rower. And he's a great human being. And we offered him less than Newcastle offered him and the Canberra Raiders, who have one of the best packs in the competition. So I don't care what you think he's worth. We got him for 800, 850. It actually was closer to 800. So you can believe that, bro. But come on, man. Come on, Harry. Context and perspective. He works hard. He runs hard. He holds up the middle. He can offload if needed. And, he was part of a side that beat Australia 30 fucking nil. He goes all right. He comes highly recommended by a lot of fucking people who are in the know. But that's all right, bro. Lance is on the Cooper Clark thing again. Look, if we start Underhill and AJ right now, it won't help us. We've got to get value out of those players, get them off the bench. And that's what you need. You need these young guys that provide value and that junior energy that comes from wanting to rip in for the club. And I'm pretty sure that the Leo Thompsons and the Max Kings have got a lot of buy-in to the Bulldogs and are very fucking happy to be where they are. Unfortunately for Leo, like, I don't even think he's had a win yet, which would be fucking hurting him. Dogs don't pay overs, and we can't. We can't. The only overs we'll pay we'll pay people what they're worth in our salary cap. And salary cap currency is not the same. And until people realise that, even Buzz Rothfield understands that. Harry, not 1 year delayed at all. I thought he would make his debut last year, but he wasn't starting in New South Wales Cup, Harry. He wasn't starting every week in New South Wales Cup. If you're not getting that built into you, how are you supposed to go out there and play NRL? He went out there and played 30 fucking minutes the other day because of the way he's been developed. You got to understand they're doing a good fucking job. And it's not the fucking same. And you know a bit about footy. Fuck. It's just hope. Hope. What would he get to go last year? They're definitely not out of place in first grade because they've been developed to the absolute minute. AJ would have come in earlier if he didn't get suspended for 2 weeks. As I said, Lance, it takes long because they aren't ready. People think they're ready based off what? Hearsay? Come on. G'day, Mike. Sorry I'm late. You're always late, brother. You're young and you're late. Get there, bro. It's all good, Lance. Other clubs do what they're going to do. But our club needed to set a cultural standard that they weren't going to walk past just because someone was good. And it might have also been the fact that we had a winger on 550 grand and we had another winger in Jacob Carraz who's going to be getting close to that and about to play Origin. So maybe it was like, we're not even going to bother even looking at that. And you got Critter, who's about to be upgraded to $1 million spine money, which is why Cherry, it's hard to keep him. And then you got to look at the Burton thing and the Galvin thing. Like, you can't have it all, and something's going to have to give. Okay, we get a Jethro and a Karma and a Jonathan Sewer come in on close to minimum wages, develop them through. We can't have two wingers on $500,000 each. It's just, your cap just doesn't work that way. And I'm telling you, our club just didn't turn their back on Josh Adokar. It doesn't work like that. They're called the family club for a reason. Hope he remains in the side, bro. Yeah, Lance. AJ didn't get a run against the Sharks, judging by precedence, probably not. Lipboy didn't get a run either, and neither did Jethro. They could have put any one of those three guys on. They didn't. And there was reasons for that. The game was gone, and they wanted to get some miles into young Underhill's legs. They need to get some more miles into King's legs. So why waste a player, risk injuring them? Game was sort of gone. I don't know. That's just my interpretation on it. But from what I can see, it's about roster management, and not because they're just trying to prevent young guys from playing. That's just absolute bullshit. They're making sure young guys have a chance to perform at their best and contribute to our team. And there's a reason they do contribute when they come in. Don't use your own wants for change just to give these young guys a fucking run, just so you feel better. They're not there to please you. They're there to bloody develop NRL players and to win games of footy. And those, if they debut too early, you risk ruining their fucking careers. It's as simple as that. Well said, Bulldog Mike. 3 games back from a 10-week injury, and he had injury prior to getting in. Now, he wasn't injury prone. He averages 20 games a season for a prop. That's good going. One of the best in the comp. And he's been in a team which has had to do a lot of defending in recent years with a lot of injuries to teammates. Like how often were the Saifidis on the park? I'm not sure if he'll be mid-season purchase, but he could be, and he would help us. But I don't know if there's room for that. We'll see what happens, Lance. Yeah, I didn't like losing him to Para, but Para seems to be buying anyone they can at the moment. Has Jack O'Neill been outperforming Fletcher Baker in New South Wales Cup starting? I think so. I think his motor's been better. I think Fletcher Baker's got some, he can offload, and he hasn't been going too bad. But he's another one people have been saying needs to come into the side. Well, he hasn't knocked the door down. They haven't dominated the middle. Neurosurgeon at Liverpool Hospital, come see me for a consultation. I thought you were a bloody bike rider, Lance. You took steroids. And now you're resurrected. Just having a chat, just having a joke, bro. Well, I felt Marnie was never at his best with delivery, but Bailey's definitely got better in that area. And it was never going to be perfect, which is why he had to be fast-tracked into the side, because we were left on our... We just had no way of keeping Marnie because he wanted to go if we weren't going to pay him the same money. And he wasn't going to allow his value to drop being in a 2-hooker system, which we wanted to do. Yep, our 2000s game, brother. I remember being at our first game back in 1995 when we played North Sydney on a Thursday afternoon when Jack Hartwell got a nice try through the middle. Oh, Michael, our little time traveller. Look, Reed has faster off the deck passing, but I don't know. Why don't you go and make a reel and show how slow he is compared to other players? See how slow he is. I see a lot of these young hookers who just struggle to even get to play the ball regularly. Like, what about De Silva the other night? He was fucking struggling just to even keep up with the game. Young guy, been a hooker his whole career. Oh, mate, you got to have thick skin. It's got a lot of underlay too. Look, but Brian's a fucking legend, mate. One of the best blokes I've known. So It's all a bit of banter is good, but guys, I think that's enough for me tonight. 3 hours and 40 minutes would nearly be a record. If you want to throw some more money my way, feel free to do it. With that portion after 50% after expenses is going to Walking for Autism, which is a very important cause. Lance, we are going to do my shopping list this week. So whether it be a video or live, more likely be a video that we can discuss on a later live. But my shopping lists over the years have included Josh Curran, Luke Metcalf, Cody Nicarima, Terrell May, and a few others. That's it. Night Bulldog Night, family club and full support from our family supporters. That's it, bro. Oh, here he is, Norland 7995. Dogs getting doggied again. Well, you would know, brother. I'm sure you're there for a lot of it and enjoying the show. Nothing worse than another fan of another team who just had so much cucking in their life. Is that what they call it? Cuckolding or whatever. Night, Mike. And fuck, it's 11 o'clock. Well, there you go. It's got to be worth something. What should I say? Show me the money. No. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Great to see you all here. We'll see you again on Tuesday. Probably do something on Wednesday, which is my birthday. On Wednesday, I think I'll be 49. So you know what to do. Say happy birthday. Good to see you all. Thanks to everyone who took part tonight. That's it, Timmy. Keep the faith. I'm turning 30. That's right, bro. Go the Dogs.
G-Day Doggies fans, welcome to the show. All things Bulldogs. Here we go, here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Blue and white pride, Bulldogs for life. Dogfather here, Gas by my side. All things Bulldogs, talking dogs tonight. Dogfather and Gas, blue and white pride. All things Bulldogs, footy talk and more. Dogfather and Gas, Bulldogs to the core. Bulldog spirit, strong and true. Blue and white, through and through. G-Day Doggies fans, welcome to the show.